your community and around the province at sastoday.ca and 620CKRM.com.
Well, after the warm couple of weeks we had, hope you didn't put that shovel too far away, as snow, heavy at times, is expected throughout the evening and overnight. We might see as much as 20 centimeters of snow by tomorrow morning. Temperature dropping to -10 overnight. The wind, though, should start to diminish this evening and overnight. Tomorrow, light snow and flurries totaling 10 to 20 to maybe 30 centimeters by dark. The temperature will continue to fall throughout the day tomorrow to -16. The wind will steadily increase to gusts around 50 kilometers an hour or so tomorrow. Into Thursday, mainly cloudy skies and a high of only -18. Friday, sunny and -19. And then for Saturday, expecting a mix of sun and cloud and a high of -17 degrees.
Broadcasting from Century Studios in downtown Regina, Harvard Media presents The Sportscage, where Saskatchewan comes to talk local sports. Brought to you by Sask Lotteries, bringing communities together. Sask Lottery products fund over 12,000 sports, culture, and recreation groups across Saskatchewan. Be part of the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262. The Sportscage. Streaming at sportscage.com, our YouTube channel, and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
Well, it sure is Tuesday, but it feels an awful lot like a Monday, doesn't it? Good afternoon, Saskatchewan. I'm Dave Thomas, filling in for Barney and Tegan on a Tuesday. Colson Schultz keeping me company on the other side of the board as we bring you the latest in local sports, and we're going global today. There is so much to talk about, of course. A lot of eyes are on the Milan Cortina Olympics, and we are actually going to be going to Cortina, Italy, moments from now, outside the Olympic curling venue. Boy, has there been a lot of talk about what's happening in curling. It was a big day, actually, for Canada. Both Rachel Homan and Brad Jacobs won their games today. But maybe a bigger win for both is neither of them had rocks pulled off the sheet. Well, we've been talking about that at sportscage.com. A lot of you have weighed in on our poll question saying that Canada is not cheating, double-touching rocks when they release. We're going to get into all of that as Kirk Muyres is standing by, and we're going to head to Italy in mere moments from now as I take a look at the clock on this stormy Tuesday. And maybe you're sitting in enjoying a cup of coffee. We encourage that, because also coming up a little bit later on today, the Prairie Junior Hockey League playoffs, they begin this week. Fort Knox, the defending champions, we will hear from their general manager, Jarrod Williams, as they get set to make a playoff push that starts over the weekend as they'll take on Assiniboia in round one. The Survivor Series, though, actually get things kicked off this weekend in style. We'll tell you about that as well. Arash Madani, he's ready to discuss our tax dollars. Right? What should you not be talking about on a sports show? Tax dollars, right? Oh, I
feel like that's one or two on the list, yeah.
But he's going to weigh in, and we'll play devil's advocate a little bit. But I can understand what he is saying and the point that he makes about Canadians and our athletes at the Olympic Games. There's a lot of out-of-pocket expenses that they have to endure. Should we be picking up more of the tab with the federal government kicking in, which, end of the day, that's our tax dollar, right? We'll weigh in on that. And Glen Suitor has been reading the report cards and ready to respond to what's happening south of the border and talk about how that may translate into what's happening here north of the border in the Canadian Football League. Press coverage with Glen Suitor coming up after 5 o'clock. We'll also be speaking with Regina Pats sensation Liam Pue. What a day he had on his 16th birthday. Scores in regulation when the Pats erased a 3-goal deficit not once but twice against the Swift Current Broncos. And then they won in a shootout, and Liam Pue was factor in that shootout as well. He will be joining us, talk about his season, talk about the Pats, and boy, what a weekend they made with their statement. 4 consecutive victories. Not only did they find themselves this morning in a playoff spot, they're actually in 7th in the Eastern Conference and have a little bit of wiggle room. Not a lot, but a little bit of wiggle room. We'll be talking about that with Liam Pue with Pat's Chat coming up a little bit later on. But it has been another golden day for Canada at the Milan Cortina Olympics. Now, I should mention that today's show, of course, is brought to you by our friends at Saskatchewan Lotteries, bringing communities together. Sask Lottery products fund over 12,000 sport, culture, and recreation groups across Saskatchewan. And, of course, if there's anything that you would like to weigh in on, The Prairieland Rentals text line is all yours, and I can fill this filling up a little bit. Of course, Prairieland Rentals, if you need snow moved, they can help you rent it. And, of course, you're always dealing with the owner at 600 Albert Street. Stop in and see for yourself. The phone number or the text line number, whichever way you want to go, phoning or texting, 306-936-6262. And like I say, we are going to open it up to you, especially when it comes to curlers in Canada. And are we a bunch of cheaters? That's what some in the world would have you believe when it comes to curling and the way that we deliver our stones. We're going to weigh in with Kirk Muyres, like I say, looking at it in about 6 minutes or so from now. We'll head over to Italy as they are filing out after the latest men's draw. The women are back on the ice in just a little bit. He'll give you I was going to say ground floor, but I guess it'd be the pebbled ice prognostication as to what's going on with curling. What the feeling is whether or not it's true that Canada is cheating when it comes to curling. Now, as I mentioned, a good day so far for Canadian curlers. Rachel Holman won a critical game against previously undefeated Sweden 8-6, and then Brad Jacobs and crew just improved to 6-0, clinched a playoff spot thanks to a 9-5 victory over Great Britain. However, Canada's got, as I mentioned, their third gold of the games. Our speed skating trio of Valerie Matias, Ivani Blondet, and Isabel Weideman defeated the Netherlands to win a second straight gold medal in the team pursuit. The same team triumphed, of course, in Beijing back in 2022. So another gold medal for Canada there. Also, speaking of what's happening on the ice, Canada now knows that in the quarterfinal we are going to be playing our new nemesis in international hockey, Czechia. Czechia defeated Denmark in the play-in game, so to speak, Survivor Series, you can call it whatever you want. They defeated Denmark 3-2, so Canada will play Czechia in a quarterfinal tomorrow. Also of note, Germany advanced with a 5-1 victory over France, so France, who kicked one of their own players off the team after his tussle with Tom Wilson, Germany is through, and Switzerland, they blanked Italy, so the host nation is out. Switzerland 3, Italy no score. So Swiss, they are moving on to the quarterfinal round. Now the U.S. will play the winner of the last game that is on the ice right now. That is Sweden and Latvia, and at last look, in the second period of play, Sweden was leading Latvia 2-0. Now also, speaking of curling here in the Bridge City, should mention that the U Sports CCAA Canadian Curling Championships are on over at the Cali Curling Club. 32 teams from across the country are taking part. The University of Regina is represented by Carter Williamson in the men's event and Chloe Johnston in the women's event. They both are on the ice at 7:30 tonight. The men are playing Guelph while the women are taking on Carleton. And again, you can find out all the details about the event by just heading to the Cali, go online, and you can get tickets there. It's a fantastic event. And as you heard us talking with Matt Ring last week, he was saying about, there are some of the curlers and some of the up-and-comers that go on to do great things that are participating in this event. So if you're looking for something to do with the whole family during the school break, here's an opportunity to head over to the Cali. Now, I'm not sure whether or not they're going to get any rocks pulled off for illegal deliveries, but you know what? I just had to kick that horse while I'm there. Just saying, right? As mentioned, a big weekend for the Regina Pats. They win 4 in a row, including that amazing victory over Swift Current yesterday at the Brandt Center. It looked like there was a great atmosphere at the building. They're going to need some more help as they're on the midst of a 4-game homestand that continues with Edmonton and Penticton coming Friday, Saturday. The game this weekend, again, not for the faint of heart. The Pats were actually down to their last shooter in the shootout, needed Maddox Schultz, needed the 15-year-old to score a goal to extend the shootout. He did, and then Liam Pue comes over the boards. He scores a goal in the shootout. The Pats would go on to win 7-6 after trailing 3-0 and 6-3 at various points in the game. So how is that for you? Something else. In the Canadian Football League, again, all starting to become quiet on the free agent front. Should talk about a kicking clinic or a kicking opportunity for players to strut their stuff, so to speak. 28 kickers from around North America and the globe will be participating in basically a workout. So all teams will send representatives there and get a chance to see the kickers or the kicking game that is on display. Interesting. Campbell Frere, the young guy that was here in Saskatchewan last year and spent a good couple of months with the Riders before being released after a less than sensational debut in Ottawa. He is one of the national kickers that will be there. They're global kickers, American kickers, all going to be showing their stuff. And of course, with the Saskatchewan Roughriders anticipating an open tryout at camp, May they find another player there? Interesting to see. You'll be able to find all those details at sportscage.com. Staying with football, Miami Dolphins receiver Tyreek Hill. Well, he's no longer a Miami Dolphin. He was released by the team today, so that's an interesting turn of events to say the very least. Of course, they acquired him from Kansas City, signed him to a 4-year, $120 million deal. Again, kind of wore out his welcome a little bit. Also had that season-ending ACL injury back in week 4. Will he land on his feet? I'm sure. Where will he land on his feet? I'm not sure. That's a question.
Oh, you were asking me?
No, it's just a question that's in the air. Will he land on his feet? Will anyone want that?
Oh, Tyreek Hill. I don't know. Jokingly, history says the Tennessee Titans are usually interested in older former receivers or former all-star receivers. So
I was going to say Vegas and the Raiders.
Oh, yeah. That would track. It depends on who their head coach ends up being. Or did they find one yet? I don't remember.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, the Seattle Seahawks guy.
Right.
Yeah. So there's that. Dallas Cowboys are always good for a pretty good controversy. So why not?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, their owner likes them to be a soap opera.
That's true. And did you read how much the Cowboys made last year?
I did not, but it is enough to be in the black, I imagine.
Yeah, they were $232 million they made last year, like a $250 million.
Profit?
Yeah.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Dave, what are we doing here?
Well, we're not owning the Dallas Cowboys, and they're terrible on the field, so it just shows that it isn't always about winning.
Where's the incentive?
Yeah. The last topic today that we're going to discuss with Arash Madani, and I'm being a ball fan, I'm really intrigued by this conversation and component. Tony Clark is resigning as the head of the Major League Baseball Players Association. And so the announcement is coming today, right? And the question that I have is, what does this mean for baseball moving forward? Remember, again, there is the ominous idea that some owners will go ahead and miss an entire season of play just so that they can go ahead and get a salary cap brought in. What does this change of the head of the Players Association mean? Arash Madani, in addition to talking taxes, will have that for us. Is that too far?
It's just, there's talking about life, and then there's talking about other things. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. The sure things in life, right? Death and taxes.
Yeah.
Death, taxes, and the Dallas Cowboys messing it up.
Is it messing it up if it's intentional?
Well, that's true. Carry out a plan, make $232 million, not a bad deal.
Yeah.
Just saying. Anyways, that's all coming up on the Sports Cage. We are going to Italy in just a moment. Yes, the one and only Kirk Muyres will be joining us from outside the Olympic curling venue. Talk about what's going on there and everything else. He'll be joining us, of course, on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. We will join him in a moment. This is the Sports Cage. We're streaming on X, YouTube, and sportscage.com. And, of course, live on your radios at 620 CKRM.
Listen weekdays at noon for Saskatchewan Today on CKRM with your host, Ryan Young. Offering the most extensive agricultural news coverage with precision weather meteorologists in an industry that moves fast. Stay updated with the latest, most reliable information in ag news, crisis and trends, all in one place. Available anytime at SaskagToday.com. Saskag Today, your trusted source for all things agriculture. Sponsored by Affinity Credit Union on 620 CKRM.
Winter's not done yet, but your home projects can be. Finish the season strong with Freeze Tallman. From updating interior doors and trim to boosting attic insulation that helps keep heating costs down, Freeze Tallman has what you need. Thinking about a home office or finally setting up that home gym? Now's the time. And when it's cold outside, staying warm means staying in, so Freeze Tallman delivers right to your door. Visit freezetallman.com. Freeze Tallman. Locally owned, family grown. Rooted in our community for 70 years.
Out on the prairies, some herds are still living like it's 1995, waiting around the corral like they're expecting a landline to ring. Trouble is, it's 2026, and your cattle need water where they are, not where the old hookup happens to be. That's where Keln Solar makes you the hero. With solar livestock watering systems, you can drop a pump just about anywhere. No grid, no trenching, no fuss. Modern tech for modern ranching. Keep the water moving and the herd happy. Keln Solar. They move water because your cows won't. Visit KelnSolar.com.
Welcome back to Sportscage. Get social with us. Follow us on X at Sportscage. Watch our video stream at sportscage.com and always on the radio at 620 CKRM.
It is time to head out on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline, and boy, are we heading out in the hotline. We're going halfway around the world to Italy, where the Olympic Games are on, and the pride of St. Gregor, Saskatchewan, or Humboldt, or Munster, or somewhere in that vicinity is Kirk Muyres joining us at the Olympic Games. Kirk, thank you so much for doing this.
Hey, happy to be here. I appreciate you taking me, Dave, and it's fun to bring a little bit of the games back home.
Okay, the biggest question on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline, of course, they do pasta, they do lasagna, they do the great pie. How is the food over in Italy?
Oh, well, you can just imagine. I'll tell you, the Western Pizza, it gives these pizzas a run for their money, but it's been good. I'll tell you, it's been great pizza, great food. We're staying actually just across the border in Austria, and so they got some awesome schnitzel and good German food as well, so that's been a treat. It's been a treat, that's for sure.
I had the opportunity to attend the 2010 Vancouver Winter Olympic Games. It's an experience I will not soon forget. What is the atmosphere? What has it been like over in Italy?
Yeah, it's been cool. We're in Cortina, so we're in it's a little village in the mountains here, and it just smells like the Olympics here. You know, you can see the women's downhill course. You can see the bobsled course. We walk up to a building that was built in 1956 for the Olympics there for the curling, and it's made with Swiss chalet wood. And you walk in there and you get to watch curling, and the whole town is just buzzing with the Olympics. So it's a cool place to be, and it just feels like we're part of the Winter Olympics. And it's I don't know if there'd be even 2,000 people that live here. So it's a tiny little village. It's just every single place you go is all about the Olympics, and everyone's sharing the Olympic spirit. So it's been a wild ride and an experience I'll never forget.
Kirk Muyres, if someone was to say, boy, there's controversy and tension swirling in a sport of the Olympics, I don't think anyone in their right mind would have ever picked curling. But is that the case? Because that's the narrative we're hearing here in North America.
You know, it absolutely is the case. Everywhere you go, someone has something to say about the curling. And, as a curler and a curling fan and somebody who's lived and breathed curling my whole life, I got to tell you, this is nothing but good things for curling. No publicity is bad publicity. And, it's one of those things that's the Olympics heightens everything. It makes everything in the spotlight. You know, disagreements happen on the curling ice. Like, my buddies and I, we talk about it all the time. I mean, all the times over the years, you have disagreements with other players on the ice, and it gets heated. And then after the game, you go and have a beer, and it's kind of forgotten, and you move on. And when this happens here, it gets heightened so much. The whole world's eyes are on it. But if this happened at the Highland Curling Club in Regina, it'd have been forgotten about the next day. But that's certainly not the case right now, and it's been fun to watch.
Being the expert that you are and having competed in such high levels, Kirk, can you explain what the controversy is when it comes to the release of stones? And is this something that all of a sudden just happened in Italy, or has it been going on for a long time?
I think maybe I think what and what it all started with the Oscar Eriksson from Sweden calling out Mark. I think what Mark was doing there, curlers have been doing that for 30 years, and I think from my standpoint, I didn't think what Mark was doing was against the rules at all, and I don't think any curler really do that. I always thought the theory was you could touch anything you want on the stone before the hog line, and as it turns out, apparently you can't touch the granite ever. And so, curlers, and I'm guilty of it. I'm sure almost all curlers are guilty of just like having your hand brush across it like that. So it was one of those things I think all the curlers learned that was against the rules. And the problem was I think the curlers learned about it at the Olympics. and then I think the publicity of it all kind of made, the federations and the officials say, oh, we got to do something here. And then that's what caused the whole outbreak to watch the hog line, and then they ended up pulling a rock on Rachel, and they ended up pulling a rock on the Scottish second as well, and all the curlers are going, geez, I don't even know what I did. So it's been a crazy experience, but I think they've kind of got it under control now, and I think, like I said, the pressure and the heightened spotlight of the Olympics is really what caused this whole outbreak.
So I go back to you having played at such high caliber events. Would you suggest there's more tension on the ice than what there normally is? I guess that would come with the Olympic Games itself, but with now the controversy over the rock delivery?
Yeah, I think 100%. I think the Olympics causes it, right? These players work their whole lives to get a chance to play at this event. Every person in their country is riding on their every move. The building is packed. They're getting tired. The stress of it all is coming in on them. So I think absolutely the tensions are higher. But that's going to happen whether there's controversy or not. And it seems that all these kind of events there's some sort of controversy, and this one seemed to have went viral. That's for sure. So I think it's just kind of adding to that. And there's such a the difference of the Olympics and other curling events is sometimes you mingle with the athletes. Here, there's such a disconnect between the athletes and the fans. You don't get to talk to the players very much. But I think from every player's standpoint, they just want a solution from World Curling and the officials on what they can and can't do here, so they can move on. They don't want to worry about this stuff. They want to go back to curling.
So before we move on from this, then. Yesterday, Rachel Holman is playing China, and the Chinese requested that the official come out and monitor her and her team's delivery for 3 ends just to make sure that everything was appropriate. Was that gamesmanship, or was there something going on there too?
Yeah, I mean that's a never-ending question with that. That's how the officials in World Curling have dealt with it. They say we're going to pull the officials off the hog line, but the other team can request that. And I'm sure, given that Rachel had a rock pulled on her, and I must say, I think what Rachel had happened to her, I got to think a lot of athletes in this field would have that happen. It just, the way your hand comes off that stone on certain shots, it just kind of falls onto the rock. So I would say it's a little bit of gamesmanship from China for sure. But at the same time, they're probably thinking to themselves, there's a good chance that if we put someone on the hog line for 3 ends, that someone on that team will accidentally do that again. So get in their kitchen a little bit, as well as I think it's almost a practical play for teams if they don't mind being kind of the bad guy.
Very true. Kirk Muyres joining us outside the Olympic venue for curling in Italy. And Kirk, I got to ask, obviously you see the game much different than a lot of us do in being able to comprehend the strategy and the moves behind the strategy. All in all, what have you witnessed at the Olympic Games when it comes to the overall play and just how the event has gone?
Yeah, I think it's been amazing. I think what we're seeing here is some of the best curling ever. And, we talk about this lots over the years is, the next Brier is the best Brier ever. The next Olympic trials is the next Olympic trials. The next Scotties is the best Olympic trials ever, that sort of thing. And we're seeing that at the Olympics here. I think the play has been elevated to a crazy level. The top teams are just almost to a level that we couldn't even comprehend anymore. And then you add the pressure of the Olympics on it. So you see these teams making crazy shots, making calls that you would never even think of in the past. They make the shots, but then because of the Olympics and the pressure that the Olympics has, you see some really random misses too. So the excitement is off the wall because you watch a Grand Slam and you see these players play 98%, make the hardest shots in the world, no problem. There's not a lot of pressure on them there. You come here and this is all they've ever wanted in their whole life. And also they have an easy wide open hit. We saw the German team this morning had a wide open hit to force the opponent. They flashed it. They gave it a steal 3. And then the next shot, they'll make a double double to get out of it sort of thing. So it's just been crazy exciting. The building is going nuts. It feels like a soccer stadium in here. The Italians come in, they fill up the building and go crazy for their teams, and then the other countries try to keep up with them. So it's just been an amazing experience.
Can you tell me about the experience of mixed doubles? Because it is a sport that is continuing to grow prominence in Canada, and I know that this may make you blush, and I apologize. You are a pioneer for that sport in our nation with your partner, Laura Walker, because really you brought a lot of prominence and attention to the sport of mixed doubles. It didn't go Canada's way, but can you explain how difficult that game is?
First of all, I think if you say pioneer, you're calling me old, Dave. So,
no,
I guess I'll take that. I'll take that, though. No.
Oh yeah. Experienced.
Yeah, there. But no, it really. I mean, obviously, it didn't go Canada's way. I mean, we all know that. It's really unfortunate. I mean, I think it was just a product of the ice change for the Canadian team. It just caught them off guard a little bit, and it's unfortunate because again, the pressure of the Olympics makes players do interesting things. Because I don't think we've ever seen that happen to that team. Like, bar none, they were the best team in Canada for a lot of years, and every time they went and played, man, they were just a force. And it just, things didn't quite pan out for them, the wrong side of the inch, and the ice wasn't really cooperating with them, which is weird because they scratched the rocks apparently, and then it got straighter, which just seems crazy. And so just, just a plethora of bad luck almost for them. But I think, I think it does. It puts it on the world stage, and you see the Americans winning that silver medal as well. And the Americans are just getting pumped around that. Americans are starting to get excited about curling again. As we talk about that as curling fans in Canada, we need the Americans to get excited about the game. And I think the silver medal from Corey and Corey there is going to really elevate the game in America, elevate the mixed doubles discipline, but also curling as a whole. So I think it showcased the game beautifully, and man, the players get good at that game too. For having two people on the ice, they seem to make a lot of shots.
Well, I'm going to give you an insight. One of the two people in this conversation, Kirk Muyres, may have alluded to that Canada maybe sometimes has too much of a good thing. And, of course, this was me when it comes to ice conditions, right? So they changed in Italy, and maybe we didn't change as quickly as we can. Is that a fair assessment, or am I just, blowing smoke?
Yeah, I think that absolutely could be the case. This is just my personal opinion watching it. I feel sometimes as Canadians, we just the athletes there feel such an immense pressure, and it's just so tough to deal with. And I think the whole machine behind it as well creates that pressure. You go through the 4-year cycle. You maybe have one coach. You maybe have a fifth at some events. And then all of a sudden you go to the Olympics, or you win the trials like that, and then you go to the Olympics, and then there's 4 or 5 or 6 different support staff. There's 4 or 5 different support staff, just kind of helping the team, and everyone's trying to do the best they can. But it's so different when you get to the Olympics with the crew that you have around you, and then so that builds the pressure. Then you hear about all the pressure you have back home to perform. You're expected to get medals, and I think it's just a really tough thing for athletes to deal with. And so I don't know. That's just my personal opinion on something that maybe needs to be discussed or reevaluated, maybe from the powers that be. That maybe we're building this up to be too big. We're building it up to be bigger than it is for our Canadian athletes.
Very, very true response. And again, I couldn't agree with you more. So what are you expecting in the remainder of the competition? I don't need you to pick any favorites or make any predictions. Just what are you expecting?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're expecting more of the same, and you're going to see some huge shots, and then you're going to see some shots where you go, wow, I've never seen that athlete miss a shot so bad. I think there's just the pressure that comes along with it. I think you're going to see, the Jacobs team keep plowing forward like they are. They put themselves in a really good position to be there at the end of the week, and then you get to that semifinal, and then all bets are off. So I think you'll see that out of them. And Rachel and watching their team this week, they obviously haven't had their best stuff yet. They've been playing pretty good, but they aren't playing like the Holman team we've seen over the last couple of years. But they have been getting better. They seem to be settling in, finding ways to win, making some more precise shots, getting a handle on the ice. So I think you add that all together. I think you're going to see them there at the end of the week pushing for a medal, and I think that's what we all want to see. And last night they scratched the rocks. So I think today you're going to see a little bit different ice conditions, whatever that might be. I think they're going to they scratched the rocks last night for the remainder of the competition here. So I think you're going to get a little more curl, maybe a little bit slower, and I think that bodes well for the Canadian teams.
Last question, my friend. Which is harder and more stressful, watching or playing?
Watching, 100%. The only thing nice about watching is I've never got to cheer for such a good team. It's easy to cheer for a team that doesn't lose very many games. That was never an issue for me.
Oh boy, modesty from Italy. Kirk, I can't say thank you enough for taking time. Enjoy the rest of the event and your time overseas. You're just top shelf in my world. So thanks for doing this, and we'll catch up soon.
Awesome. No, I appreciate you having me, Dave. You have a good day.
Saskatchewan curler Kirk Muyres joining us outside the Olympic curling venue in Italy on the Sportscage. Wow, it's pretty deep. And I wouldn't mind having some of the food that he talked about either. Of course, you can get it yourself delivered on the Western Pizza guest hotline. More of the Sportscage is coming up. We're streaming at sportscage.com. And, of course, we're on 620 CKRM.
And the puck's dropped on your financial future. Are you skating toward retirement? Don't get caught offside when it comes to your work pension, farm succession, or changing family needs. Chad Reach, Senior Wealth Advisor, and the team at GP Financial Services and Aviso Wealth are your local independent advisors helping Saskatchewan families plan for retirement and beyond. 306-584-2755, gpfinancial.ca. Mutual funds and other securities are offered through Aviso Wealth, a division of Aviso Financial Inc.
Did you know over 1.3 million homeowners call on Reliance for their water heater needs? With over 150,000 five-star online reviews and over 60 years experience, you could say Reliance Heath are water heater experts. Switch to Reliance Heath today. They'll give you $200 for all your hot water needs.
Call on Reliance.
Visit waterheaterrentals.com for details. Terms and conditions apply.
That garage door has seen better days. After a long winter, it's grinding, struggling, and barely getting you into spring. And right now, it's asking for a little TLC. Whether that's a professional tune-up or a full replacement, Busy Bee Doors knows that a working garage door isn't just about convenience. It's a part of being a good homeowner. So take care of it now with help from Busy Bee Doors. Call Busy Bee Doors. They can fix or replace any commercial or garage door. Busy Bee Doors, the garage door specialists.
Text CKRM 306-936-6262 for Prairie Land Rentals. Renting heaters, skid steers, and most power tools for all those winter jobs. And your official Husqvarna snow thrower dealer. Prairie Land Rentals, 600 Albert Street, where you deal with the owner. This is Sportscage. Watch our live stream at sportscage.com and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
Rolling on a Tuesday edition of the Sports Cage. Dave Thomas in for Barney Shankaruk and Tegan Whitco this afternoon. Watching the Olympic Games in the men's hockey right now. Seeing that Sweden is leading Latvia 3-1. The winner of that contest will play the U.S. in the quarterfinals. The Canadians know that they're going to be taking on our new nemesis in international hockey, Czechia, as Czechia defeated Denmark 3-2 in their qualification game earlier today. So that's how that is shaping up. We'll have much more from Milan and Cortina in just a little bit. But first, let's turn our attention to the local ponds back at home. Believe it or not, the playoffs are starting in the Prairie Junior Hockey League this weekend. Yeah, I know. It seems like just yesterday we were starting the season, and maybe it seems even shorter than that the Fort Knox team was hoisting the championship trophy for the first time in their history. This year, they're celebrating 30 years in the Prairie Junior Hockey League, and we are pleased to be joined on the Western Pizza guest hotline. Of course, you are looking for some of the Greek-style favorites. You'll find them at Western Pizza. The general manager of Fort Knox is Jarrod Williams joining us. And Jarrod, does it seem like yesterday that trophy was presented to your team last year?
Hey, Dave. I wouldn't say it seems like yesterday. It's honestly been what's felt like a long year. I think coming off that first championship, that expectations were quite high, and the emotion and intensity from April, those it's not the same in September, October. So I think it's just been an effort to get back to where we were in April, and hopefully at the end of the month here when we play our first playoff game, that's the case.
Well, it's interesting as the question the Saskatchewan Roughriders, Jarrod, are being poised a lot is it harder to win a championship or harder to stay on top of that mountain and win another one? You sound like you've got the answer to that, maybe.
I think the answer is that it's very difficult to stay on top of that mountain and maintain or sustain like that same intensity, emotion, compete level. I think all of our players would agree with that. I would think that a lot of the Saskatchewan Roughriders after next season, success or not, will also agree with that. I think it's very tough to maintain, that level of intensity and compete through an entire regular season. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, bang on. Fort Knox, 42 games played, 27-15-0 in the regular season. Puts you in second spot in the Bill Johnston division. Is that where you anticipated you'd be? Obviously, you want to be in top spot, but are you happy with the season and the record as to how the regular season played out?
Not to sound too cliche here, but I feel like we definitely had our fair share of ups and downs and tried to deal with different adversity, whether that be injuries, suspensions, whatnot. Just the same things every other team at any other level deals with. But I would say that we didn't necessarily meet our team's goals or expectations in the regular season. But again, like, they have a chance to prove otherwise in the postseason here, and again, hopefully that's the case.
Was it a retool this season with having a number of returning players from last year's championship team? Was it kind of a start over and having to hit reset after the championship? How did you go about this season, and where do you feel your team is at as far as that process has gone building towards the playoffs? I
felt as though our recruiting, everything went very well in the off season. We had some pleasant surprises and players who we didn't think were going to return, and they were itching to play again. They wanted to come back, so we welcomed them back. And so nothing against the group that we have here this year, but I think we underestimated the value in character, leadership, experience that some of the older players from last year's team, what those guys brought to the table. Like, we didn't maybe see that one coming as much as what we ended up dealing with. Guys like Castor Berzuk, Zane Winter, Colby Cuddington, Jackson Miller. I could go on, but every player that we lost due to age, just their character and leadership qualities, they're more evident once they were gone. And sometimes, again, another cliche saying, sometimes you don't know what you have till it's gone. And I think that that's the case when you look back to last year's team and some of those guys who couldn't return this year.
Well, as mentioned, the Prairie Junior Hockey League playoffs do begin this weekend with the Survivor Series in the south. It's Moosomin taking on Pilot Butte in the north. It's Prince Albert and the Saskatoon Royals. Now, you already know your first-round opponent, going to be Assiniboia, that you'll start in a couple of weeks' time. Is this a rest, relax, and sit back kind of time? Is this put your nose to the grindstone and get ready for what could be a long series against Assiniboia? How do you approach this weekend while that Survivor Series is going on?
Firstly here, this week we've given our guys a few days off. The sickness injury bug definitely got us in January, and then it came back and bit us again here beginning of February. So taking a few days off, and then we got 3 huge practices to prepare for what's going to be a very, very tough series. That Assiniboia team, I think we basically split with them in the regular season, but Todd Ellick's done a lot with that group, and they've definitely made some major improvements. And yeah, it's going to be a tough series, and should be a good one.
As you mentioned, Todd Ellick was named the Peter Dittman Memorial Coach of the Year award winner by the Prairie Junior Hockey League. He's done a lot with that franchise in a short amount of time, and I would suggest one of the biggest things maybe he's injected is a sense of belief. Do you get that as well?
I think that the details within their game and the structure that he's implemented, is living proof that Todd himself played nearly 500 games in the NHL. So I think that he's no stranger to hockey, and that, it's, the product that they're putting on the ice shows just that.
Last year, Fort Qu'Appelle was absolutely overwhelmed with pride in cheering on Fort Knox at the arena. I'm assuming you would expect nothing different. What do fans need to know about this year's playoff run when it comes to tickets and all of those fun things that happen in and around the rink?
Well, I'm glad you asked. We are just kind of in talks with the Fort Winter Festival Committee that that fires up Friday, February 27th, and runs through that entire weekend. So as it's worked out the past few years, we are going to run our game one of playoffs Friday, February 27th in conjunction with a kickoff to the Fort Winter Festival. So we have details and whatnot all kind of in the works, and we'll be releasing that on social media and maybe sharing with you to air on the radio for us, Dave, in the near future here.
All right, consider that done. Now, far be it from me to suggest that you would take any time off during the day to sit in the back shop, but I'm sure that you've had your attention on the Olympic hockey tournament a little bit. How do you feel about Canada drawing Czechia in a quarterfinal?
Well, nothing against Czechia or any team, but if they can't get through them, then they're going to have a pretty tough time getting through the States or Sweden on the other side. So,
very true.
So they can't look too far ahead, but yeah.
Liked what you've seen so far from Canada?
I think so. You got, the best players from the country all competing on one ice surface. Same team. I think it's very good hockey. You're not going to get any better hockey than that.
What do you make of the Cathedral and their chirps, especially against Leon Draisaitl? Obviously, it blew up social media over the weekend when the U.S. took on Germany. Thoughts on that? Like, is that you should be quiet, or if that's your game, that's your game? Where do you sit?
I think that every single league at any level has those guys. The Chucks are just the ones on the world stage of it, and I think that it is part of the game. And there's sometimes a fine line there in what you can say and what you can't. But yeah, the Chucks, it's either you love them or you hate them. So if you're a Florida Panthers fan or an Ottawa Senators fan, like, those are your guys. But if you're an Edmonton Oilers fan like me, then you're not a big fan of Matthew Tkachuk.
Understood. You got to be loving what you see with Connor McDavid and Macklin Celebrini then, no?
Oh, yeah, no, that's just goes to show that, he's there's no doubt about his abilities. And, again, like this Olympic competition, there's no bigger stage. You got all the best players in the world competing, and he's still at the top of it. So,
all right, Jarrod Williams, let's bring it back to your team then. For Fort Knox to be successful in the first round against Assiniboia, what needs to go right?
We need to get it done by committee. We're a big, heavy, physical team when we choose to be. So if we can get everyone to buy into that, just simple, heavy hockey, I think that's our game. That's the identity of our team, or should be. And we have a great goaltending tandem back there, and Brady Carr and Drew Prima, and they'll shut the door and should be able to get it done.
How much experience do you draw from last year's successful playoff run? Do you build that into some of the things you talk about and maybe game plan around having what you learned last year?
I think that there's definitely takeaways from last year, but we've talked a lot this year about how you can't just look at it as last year. It's a new year. It's a new group. Just same as the opponents on the other side of the ice surface. These Assiniboia Rebels, that's a completely different team. They've taken a lot of steps forward. I would say the same thing about the Regina Capitals, the Saskatchewan Wesleys, or whoever it is. So we don't want to look back. We kind of got to deal with what's in front of us and look ahead and figure it out from there.
Okay, please correct me if I'm wrong. Game 1, February 27th. Game 3 back at home on March 3rd. And then, if necessary, the 7th. Is that right, of March?
Game 5, yes, the 7th, I believe. That's Saturday, correct?
Yes, you bet. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. So the 27th, we've got it circled on our calendar. The playoff title defense of Fort Knox begins when you take on Assiniboia. It should be a dandy series. And again, if we want more information, just follow you on social media. That's the best way.
Oh, yeah, for sure. We try and keep those channels updated, and PGHL website, of course, as well, has all that information.
Ideal. Jarrod, appreciate your time today. What's it like in Fort Qu'Appelle right now? It's raining in downtown Regina.
It is very, very windy here, so I can't imagine what it's like on top of it, this windy in the valley.
Oof, I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it. Jarrod, appreciate your time. Best of luck in the playoffs, and we'll touch base later on.
Yeah, thanks, Dave.
All right. Jarrod Williams is the general manager of Fort Knox. As mentioned, the Prairie Junior Hockey League playoffs. They do have actually a regular season game tonight, as this week they're playing a couple of makeup games. So Prince Albert is in Martinsville to take on the Chiefs. But then the playoffs get rolling this weekend with those Survivor Series. As mentioned, Pilot Butte is taking on Mooseman. That would be the 4 and 5 seeds, if you will. And in the north, it's the Saskatoon Royals taking on the Prince Albert Timberjacks. So the playoff spots have been determined. We just don't know all the playoff matchups just yet. We do know the one that we do know is Assiniboia will play Fort Knox in round number 1, as I mentioned, game 1 on February the 27th. Follow along at sportscage.com. Of course, that's where you'll find our podcast. Jarrod Williams was on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. We need to take a break. We will come back with your Sports Cage sports ticker, find out what's happening in Olympic men's hockey, as well as where we medaled today. Those details are coming up. It's all streaming on X, YouTube, and sportscage.com. And, of course, we're on the radio at 620 CKRM.
Think about the voices that kept you company on early mornings, late nights, long drives home, the songs you grew up with, the ones you still know every word to, the games you listen to through long summer days and harvest dust. For 100 years, 620 CKRM has been right there with you. And this year, CKRM turns 100. So we're celebrating the only way we know how. Big, bold, and unforgettable. You're invited to 100 Years in One Night. Saturday, July 18th at the Connexus Arts Center, honoring the icons who made CKRM what it is today. Tickets go on sale soon, so keep listening to find out how to get yours. 100 Years in One Night. Brought to you by McBids, Quality Tire, EB Power Sports in Assiniboia, Heartland Livestock Yorkton, Croft Electric, Positively Perfect Pets, Uniglobe Carefree Travel, and Mac Auction Company. Here's to the past, the present, and the night we celebrate it all together.
Sask Lotteries has over 50 years of winning behind us. And you know what that means? Lots of winning numbers. Numbers like over 1,200 organizations funded and 12,000 plus groups supported. $6 million given away annually in community grants. And the winningest number of all? $1.4 billion given back to the people of Saskatchewan through sport, culture, and recreation. And we're just getting started. Learn more at sasklotteries.ca.
Winter in Saskatchewan tests everything, our patience, vehicles, and sometimes our bumpers. From icy parking lot dings to serious highway mishaps, choosing local matters. At Regina Motor Products Collision Center, we're Saskatchewan-owned, run, and we drive these roads too. An SGI-accredited full-service collision center working on all makes and models. Submit your SGI claim and book your appraisal. It's easy. When you need repairs you can trust, it's neighbors helping neighbors. Regina Motor Products Collision Center, south at Highways 1 and 6 Albert Street. rmpchevrolet.com.
Back to our regular spot, Pumpjacks Cathedral.
You know, I thought Pumpjacks was a kind of boot polish till last month.
What are you getting?
Kerwin's crispy ribs and a cold pint of local craft. Crispy, meaty, beautiful.
You had me a meaty.
Plus, we got live music on the weekends, big screens. This place is basically my second marriage.
And way cheaper than the first.
On the corner of Albert and 13th, Pumpjacks Cathedral Saloon and Steakhouse. Come early, stay late. The place where friends meet.
Thinking about spring already? You're not alone. Before the snow melts, stop by Cash Tactical Regina and get geared up. From rugged clothing, boots, packs, outdoor gear, varmint rifles, ammunition, knives, and more, they've got whatever Saskatchewan throws at you. Spring adventures start with the right gear. Don't wait for the thaw. Get ahead of the season today. Visit Cash Tactical, 7th Ave Regina, in-store or online. Cash Tactical. Be ready for what's next.
Did you know over 1.3 million homeowners call on Reliance for their water heater needs? With over 150,000 five-star online reviews and over 60 years experience, you could say Reliance Heath are water heater experts. Switch to Reliance Heath today. They'll give you $200 for all your hot water needs.
Call on
Reliance. Visit waterheaterrentals.com for details. Terms and conditions apply.
It's time for the Sports Ticker, brought to you by Reliance Heath Water Heater Rentals. Switch to Reliance today and get $200 cash back with your new water heater. Some conditions apply. Call on Reliance.
All right, Tuesday edition of the Sports Cage. Yes, Colin Reliance. It is the Sports Cage Sports Ticker. We are watching Olympic men's hockey. Last look, Sweden was leading Latvia 3-1 after 2 periods of play. That means that Sweden, if that result holds true, will take on the U.S. in the quarterfinals. We now know that Canada and their men's hockey team tomorrow will play Czechia after Czechia defeated Denmark 3-2. Other play-in games, if you will, at the Olympics men's hockey event. Germany defeated France 5-1, and Switzerland blanked Italy 3-0 on the pebbled ice today. It was a good one for Team Canada so far, as Rachel Homan defeated previously unbeaten Sweden 8-6. That means she keeps her playoff hopes alive. She is back in action tomorrow. The men's team played Great Britain to a 9-5 victory. Canada is 6-1 and clinches a playoff spot for Brad Jacobs and his foursome, including Regina's Ben Hebert. So congratulations to them on that. It was a golden day for Canada in the women's team pursuit speed skating. I don't know if anybody else has tried it. I can skate, obviously. Have you tried wearing a set of speed skates?
I was going to say try saying it or skating.
Both. Well, tough for me to say. Even tougher to try the speed skates. Like, because they'll, especially if you got the clapper ones with the loose heel.
Oh, yeah.
And it is tough. I'm not going to kid you. It is tough. Anyways, gold medal for that in Canada, so congratulations to the women's team. They repeat as gold medalists. Of course, they won back in 2022. That sounds like it's going to be the final race for all 4 of them together, so going out as winners, congratulations to them on that. Also, speaking of curling back at home, the U Sports CCAA Canadian Curling Championships are on over at the Cali Curling Club. Canada is... or the University of Regina, was looking for a Canadian championship, something that they won a couple of years ago. Now, the women are being represented by Chloe Johnston, the men by Carter Williamson. Both have their opening draws tonight at 7:30. Williamson is taking on the Carleton Ravens, while Johnston plays the Guelph Griffins. Again, First Rock Flies at 7:30 over at the Cali. In the Prairie Junior Hockey League, just one regular season game. I mentioned it earlier. The Prince Albert Timberjacks are taking on the Martinsville Chiefs. If you want to play along and get in the game, go to sportscage.com and let us know what you think. Because with all of the controversy that is happening at the Olympics with, well, Team Canada in particular, but the Great Britain team also had a rock taken off the ice when it came to delivery violations. Do you think that Canada is double touching rocks when delivering stones in Olympic curling action? That is the poll question at sportscage.com. It has been a very lively debate. And right now, with 65% of the votes, so not a gigantic minority, it is still a majority, but 65% of the voters are saying no, Canada is not. That it's just something that is being called out of the blue. Now, if you missed our conversation with Kirk Muyres from Italy outside of the curling venue, he said that it always happens. It's just that everybody's starting to focus on it. Now, if you missed that, of course, you can get the podcast at sportscage.com, or we're going to hear from him again coming up before the 6 o'clock news. Don't miss Kirk Muyres live from Cortina, Italy, as, of course, he is there as an interested bystander on a couple of fronts. Of course, his girlfriend plays for Team Switzerland. He also, of course, donned that maple leaf at World Mixed Curling Championships a number of times with his partner, Laura Walker. So he knows what he's talking about. He's represented Saskatchewan, by the way, at the Brier. He was on Matt Dunstone's team, if you'll recall, as him and the foursome. Boy, did they have a great run there just post-COVID. But yeah, it's an interesting thing that is occurring there. Also, we have got more details on what's happening with the Major League Baseball Players Association. We're going to share those with you coming up a little bit later on. Arash Madani will be joining us in about 30 minutes or so from now. Excited to hear his take on that, as well as some of the finances when it comes to Olympic athletes and whether or not they should be receiving more federal funding. That's a tax dollar debate, isn't it? Because federal funding is tax dollar. Oh, you had the cha-ching going.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I watched an informative YouTube video the other day about, well, Norway does really good at the Winter Olympics. They're really good at like the alpine skiing, the Nordic skiing, all those things, right?
Yes.
And part of it is because if you're familiar with Norway, they have their sovereign wealth fund, which is all of our money from natural resources, whatever, funnels into this, and then the government spends that for the people, right? And apparently they've just been putting most of it into sports and sports equipment and all that stuff, but then also to keep the prices down. So you can just have X amount more kids skiing, right?
Yes.
And that's translating into more kids skiing, more kids interested in skiing long term, more athletes actually competing. And now you're seeing Norway just completely dominating the Winter Olympics. I mean, they have for a long time. Makes sense.
Yeah.
But this is like where I'm guessing the tax conversation is going to go. Should we be putting more money into it?
That's right. And what are we going to put money into? Because there are federal dollars that go into hockey. There are federal dollars that go into a lot of sports. Should more go in, I guess, is the question. We'll talk to Arash about that, as I say, in about 30 minutes or so from now. Glen Suitor standing by with press coverage. That, as well as Liam Pue of the Regina Pats on deck for you here on the Sports Cage on this stormy Tuesday, as we had rain in downtown Regina. I think it's starting to let up as I look out the windows right now. If you are heading for the highways, be sure to check the highway hotline before you head out. And if you've got a road condition or something else to report, let us know. The Prairieland Rentals text line is open at 306-936-6262. You can also call that number. We do have a question teed up for Roscoe and Arash. Roscoe, I think, wants to stay at Arash's place. Something like that.
Fair enough.
And something like that. We'll get to that and more coming up. You're watching the stream of Sportscage. Of course, we're on X, YouTube, and sportscage.com, and on your radio at 620 CKRM.
Proudly broadcasting from Treaty 4 territory, the homeland of the Dakota, Nakota, Lakota, Saulteaux, and on the homeland of the Métis Nation. We are 620 CKRM Regina, a Harvard media station.
It's 4 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Tanner Wallace-Scribner from the SaskToday.ca newsroom with 620 CKRM News for Bronco Plumbing and Heating, where professional service is guaranteed. They'll treat you right. 781-2090. A heavy snowfall warning has been issued for a large part of the province as a big dump of snow is expected to impact much of southern Saskatchewan, with 25 to 35 centimeters possible by Thursday morning. Snow is set to begin today in western areas and later in the afternoon in the east. A low-pressure system will bring heavy snow from Meadow Lake southeast to Estevan. Travel conditions are expected to worsen with reduced visibility, possible road closures, and utility outages. The wind will be pretty nasty, according to Environment Canada meteorologist James Colangelo.
The winds are really strengthening right now out of the east, and those will just continue to strengthen throughout the day here. Specifically the southeast part of the province, Regina down to Estevan there.
Officials urge residents to prepare for rapidly changing conditions and avoid non-essential travel. Saskatchewan RCMP have charged a Regina man in connection with dozens of break-ins across southern Saskatchewan over more than 6 years. Mounties say a 57-year-old man faces 62 counts of break-and-enter and other related charges. Police link him to 74 reported break-ins in 43 communities between 2019 and 2026. About $50,000 in cash and other items were stolen, mainly from public buildings. The suspect is scheduled to appear in Regina Provincial Court on February 18th. An 18-year-old man is facing multiple charges after an incident involving a dangerous drive in Regina. Police say officers were called Monday morning to the area of Albert Street and 25th Avenue for reports of a vehicle swerving and striking curbs. Officers later attempted a traffic stop where the driver allegedly evaded police and drove erratically before colliding with a fence. The 18-year-old is charged with evading police, dangerous driving, obstructing a peace officer, hit and run, and breaching a release order. 4 people are facing robbery charges after an incident Monday evening. Police say officers responded at about 5:30 p.m. in the 2300 block of 12th Avenue. A 15-year-old male reported he and an adult woman were approached by the group, who threatened to shoot them if he did not hand over his jacket. The suspects allegedly discharged bear spray before fleeing. Officers arrested 3 suspects about 15 minutes later and located a 4th shortly after. All 4 are charged with robbery. That's 620 CKRM News. Read more stories from around your community and around the province at sastoday.ca and 620CKRM.com.
The weather is brought to you by Line X Regina for serious protection, killer looks, 1865 McCarra Street. Well, after the warm couple of weeks we had, hope you didn't put that shovel too far away, as snow, heavy at times, is expected throughout the evening and overnight. We might see as much as 20 centimeters of snow by tomorrow morning. Temperature dropping to -10 overnight. The wind, though, should start to diminish this evening and overnight. Tomorrow, light snow and flurries totaling 10 to 20 to maybe 30 centimeters by dark. The temperature will continue to fall throughout the day tomorrow to -16. The wind will steadily increase to gusts around 50 kilometers an hour or so tomorrow. Into Thursday, mainly cloudy skies and a high of only -18. Friday, sunny and -19. And then for Saturday, expecting a mix of sun and cloud and a high of -17 degrees.
For 40 years, the team from Line X Regina has been protecting vehicles across Saskatchewan, and we're changing with the times. 3 generations of our family have protected your vehicles. Our business has evolved, and we're not stopping now. The next generation is here. Same family, same commitment, ready for the next generation of truck beds, rocker panels, trailers, bumpers, and running boards in all kinds of colors. Line X Regina, 1865 McCarra Street, the next generation of protective coatings.
Broadcasting from Century Studios in downtown Regina, Harvard Media presents The Sports Cage, where Saskatchewan comes to talk local sports. Brought to you by Sask Lotteries, bringing communities together. Sask Lottery products fund over 12,000 sports, culture, and recreation groups across Saskatchewan. Be part of the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262. The Sports Cage. Streaming at sportscage.com, our YouTube channel, and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
It's an icky Tuesday that feels a lot like a Monday after a long weekend. I'm Dave Thomas, in for Barney Shankaruk and Tegan Whitko. Colson Schultz manning the board for us today and doing all things technical and otherwise. It is technically not fun traveling on the roads. Just heard from our engineer, Mosh, who is a gentleman extraordinaire when it comes to getting things done. He was out in the highways and said, I wouldn't be there if I didn't have to, because it was icky as there's blowing snow all over the place. That after the rain. So you can imagine the treacherous conditions that are going to be happening on highways as you're heading and or making your way around Saskatchewan today. If you don't have to go, the word is don't go, as there is an orange alert. Now, when it comes to the weather, that's due to the snow that is expected to accumulate in the next 24 hours. We're already starting to get some minor hockey cancellations within southeastern Saskatchewan. So if you know something that's going on, let us know on the text line. Of course, brought to you by Prairie Land Rentals at 306-936-6262. I see Colson has got the granola bar happening, and just reminded me that we're giving away food for Pumpjacks. Don't have to turn the camera on or anything. You're mid-chew. I get this. But I'm just saying we are giving away food and going to test your Olympic knowledge mere moments from now. So get ready to jump on the phones and do some winning. That is coming up in just a moment. But first, let's talk about what's happening at the Olympic Games right now. Sweden has extended their lead on Latvia to 4-1 in the third period. The winner will play the U.S. in men's hockey and a quarterfinal that will take place tomorrow. Canada, we already know, is taking on Czechia as Czechia defeated Denmark 3-2. The other game of note that is, I don't know, this is such a great question. And maybe we'll pose it to you, the Sports Cage listener, because I don't know the answer. Now, France was eliminated by the tournament by Germany with a 5-1 loss this afternoon. Of course, they were playing without Pierre Crinon. He was the man that fought Tom Wilson at the conclusion.
Great idea. What could go wrong?
Well, what could go wrong is what did go wrong, is neither of them were suspended, right? So there's always a threat of suspension in international play during a fight. There's that is always happening. However, Crinon was suspended by the, should I try the French? La Fédération Française de Hockey sur Glace, the Ice Hockey Federation of France, if you can believe that or not. He was suspended for not only fighting, but also for his actions following the fight, was what they brought out. And today, following their 5-1 defeat to Germany and, of course, being ousted from the Olympic Games, Team France is standing by their player, right? They're teammates saying, we're a big family. When we come together, we come as brothers, and we just got rid of one of our brothers, so it's a joke from the French committee. That was what the Olympic goaltender Antoine Keller said. Should the French Federation have tossed him? Obviously, the team not in favor of it. The French Federation said that that wasn't in the spirit of the Olympic Games, so they sent him home. Would you have done that?
Well, from what I've been reading, this guy has a bit of a history. So
Yeah, everything is more than meets the eye. I'm with you on that for sure, and I've read that too.
Yeah, but also factoring in the history, because I saw one of them was he tried to fight a goalie or something, and it was like not reciprocated, so he was just going after the guy. So if you've got a player who's an instigator like that, and it feels kind of like he's taking cheap shots almost, and just has this history, then I'm not too surprised maybe if you're trying to send a message to him. It's like, hey, you're a good player, we want you here, so come on, man. Then in that case, I'm not surprised, but...
Well, and that's the catch. I don't even know if it's a catch-22 or not, right? But if the Olympic Federation didn't want that on their team and they knew the history, why would they have selected him, right? And it's also can speak to the point that if sometimes you have addition by subtraction. Do you know what I mean? You remove a bad apple and maybe the team responds. Obviously and clearly this case did not transpire that way as the team was against him being sent back home.
Yeah.
Again, we're not in the dressing room, but I think it makes a clear message that we're here to play hockey. We're not going out there to dance around and make a spectacle of ourselves.
Yeah.
Because Tom Wilson, right, and now this is his defense. Tom Wilson, end of the day, right, that was his reputation prior to winning a Stanley Cup. Then he kind of figured out, okay, I got to start picking and choosing what I'm doing, and he became a valuable asset on the ice at both ends of the rink.
Yeah.
What would you do? Kicking the guy, sending him home, kick him to the curb, that's it, you're gone. Or do you say, okay, listen, international ice hockey didn't see this, but let's internalize it and let's talk about it and say, okay, listen, this is done. You don't play for France ever again if this happens. And I thought it was hilarious that the commentators during the Canadian-French game said, well, you know, France wouldn't be here if Russia was involved in the Olympics. I'm like, wow.
Got to play those cards, do we?
That hurts. That hurts a lot.
Ooh.
Anyways, let us know. Prairieland Rentals text line is open at 306-936-6262. Would you have sent him home? Did the French do the right thing sending him home or not? Again, you can have your say on that. I don't know. To me, that...
This was at the end of the game, too, right? So it's already like 10-2?
Well, and so how many times do you go to or watch a hockey game where things get out of hand at the end?
Decently often.
Yeah, right.
And usually in games that are 10-2.
Yes.
Because the team that scored 2 points is feeling a little ashamed?
Frustrated. Both.
So, yeah, we see it. Doesn't really justify it. Again, with all we know about medical stuff now, especially with head injuries and things, like, because it's naturally sort of decreasing on its own, well, somewhat. You could argue it's increasing. Fighting is increasing again in hockey, but I think they're not going to touch it as long as it's not causing irreparable damage, right? Now, in international, there's already a clear ban on it. So,
true.
The fact that they didn't throw them both out already, I'm okay with.
Yeah, for sure.
We appreciate having Tom around still.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I don't know.
And for folks that didn't see the scrap, it was late in the game. It was more of a wrestling match, although Tom Wilson did want it to be more than that as he broke away from the linesman, and I'm like, oh, no. He's gone for the tournament, is what I thought initially, but he didn't re-engage in the fight. I don't know if there was something that tweaked and said, oh, hold on.
Wait a minute.
But, yeah. So, anyways, like I said, the French decided that, hey, this is our team. We don't like playing like that. We're sending you home. You can let us know if you would have done the same or if you think that was right. Or are you sticking up for the French team that says, no, he was one of our guys, and you went ahead and stepped in and overstepped in the midst of a tournament. you can go ahead and have your say. Also, you know what? Speaking of tussles, you know what's becoming on vogue all of a sudden?
Oh, the goalie fights?
The goalie fights.
Yeah.
One in the Western Hockey League last night, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. Again, another blowout game.
Yeah.
Prince George was up 3-0 on Penticton, and the goalies went after it, which, just so all of our listeners are aware, mostly viewers, I can't show that footage because YouTube doesn't like it when you show footage of minors fighting. So
go figure.
Yeah.
Isn't that new?
Makes sense. Totally get it. So if you want to go see the fight, it's on social media somewhere. Not hard to find. But you won't see it here because having our videos up.
So, okay, Colson, give me, before we, I'm going to look, I'm looking at the discipline report right now just to see if anything has been issued, and nothing from the Western Hockey League has come out since Valentine's Day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've had 2 or 3 in the NHL this last year, including the NHL, social media is posting one of them.
Yeah.
Which, again, they're not a fan of, because a goalie fight is that's icing on the cake. If there's a line brawl or stuff or whatever, you're already like, okay, come on, guys. Now the goalies are fighting too. It's not what the NHL really wants. But now they're also kind of understanding. People like this. People are coming to the show.
Okay.
So,
here are the reactions.
All right.
That I've heard around the hockey world when it comes to goalie fights. Okay. Number one is that the hockey is in the entertainment business.
Yep.
This is a component of the entertainment because, and again, this is the argument made by others. You can agree, disagree, whatever you want to say. The conversation is that, hey, this is a part of the entertainment and that nobody ever leaves their seats when a goalie fight happens.
Well, depends on if they're standing up to cheer or not, but yeah, I would agree with that.
Portion number 2, discussion number 2, is that because this is such a staged event, right? Because very seldom do the goaltenders have a beef with one another and actually want to fight.
Very true.
Right? So they're coming down, and number 2 is that these guys who a lot of teams build their teams around as goaltending are really putting their team in jeopardy by deciding that they're going to put on this show, air quotes. And there's a lot of people that are very disappointed when they see that happen. Fair. And then the third school of thought that I've heard, which I find somewhat intriguing and somewhat barbaric at the same time, is that if hockey is such a part of the game, why do the officials then break it up? Why don't they just let them go until they're done if it's a part of the game? Because the officials are risking injury, right? And again, it all comes down to fighting in hockey at the end of it all, but the goalie fight is just a staged phenomenon, isn't it? Am I wrong?
I would say that. I'd say you'd have to... There'd be a very rare circumstances where the goalies are actually beefing about something in game where they're going to fight each other. So it would definitely be staged most of the time. As far as why are the refs breaking it up, because it's entertainment or whatever.
Barbaric portion of it, right?
Yeah. We're not at the Coliseum. This isn't a Roman gladiator.
True.
Right?
True. That's right.
Though I would like to see that on skates, now that I'm thinking about it. But Cirque du Soleil, your next thing, gladiators on ice. I'm not coming up with the words of why they break it up and why it's not a good idea, but we all kind of know, it's it's fighting, it's part of the entertainment, but you're not, well, some people are coming for the fights, but if you're wanting to watch fighting, you go watch UFC, WWE, other things.
You're not watching WWE if you want to see a real
wrestling
fight. Okay.
I mean, hey.
I'm just saying.
If you script it and you make the stories interesting, it's going to be entertaining. I don't watch it, but I know other people do and other people enjoy it.
I'm not arguing with that.
Yeah. Whatever floats your boat.
Want to hear from you. Again, the Prairie Land Rentals text line at 306-936-6262. You can also join the YouTube chat. You can like, you can subscribe, and you can chat along. Jeffrey talking about copycat actions, and he's right. This is what it is. As soon as you saw it in the NHL, you knew it was going to start filtering down immediately. And he does point out the blocker can do some real damage, and I completely agree with that.
Oh, yeah.
As someone that's worn a blocker shot or two, it isn't fun, and it's a real weapon. And everybody knows that. Also, interestingly enough, Greg talked about the French player being tossed out And he says, no, he was good enough to make the team and was penalized for the infractions. Who knows what within the game was going on the ice. And the IIHF did not conclude suspensions, that must be, in order from Greg. So that's a very solid and valid point, right? So I think Greg is saying that the French organization overstepped. But it is their team, though.
Yeah. It's their team. They can do this if they seem fit. So I don't think they're in the wrong for doing it necessarily. But again, it's the question of, do you think he deserved it or not?
Yeah. Again, join that Prairieland Rentals text line at 306-936-6262. But let's get into that. Phone number is valid as well to win some eats from Pumpjacks. We've got a $50 gift card from Pumpjacks to give away today.
That sounds right.
All right. 306-936-6262. I don't know. Go caller 3. You get a chance to answer today's Olympic historic question. We are going back 24 years for this one.
So I was 5 years old.
Yeah.
Got it. Maybe 4, depending on the month.
Yeah.
Which, if it's winter, I would have been 4. So good chance I don't know this one.
Well, 2002. Again, I'm surprised. I think there was talk about making a movie about this one and conspiracy at the Winter Olympics, but I don't know if one was ever made, which doesn't help, right? But if you go back to this day, February the 17th in 2002, Canada was awarded a gold medal after an international sport-fixing conspiracy was revealed. Now, keep in mind, in 2002, we're not talking betting, we're not talking wagering, we're not talking gambling, but we are talking the manipulation of outcomes of multiple sports.
Ooh.
So what we want to know, all the way back on this day in 2002, what sport were we granted a gold medal in following said controversy? 306-936-6262. It's Pumpjacks Trivia for your chance to win some eats on us. If you haven't been over to Pumpjacks Cathedral, you're missing out. They've got a great atmosphere, a fantastic menu, and always a good time guaranteed. Pumpjacks Trivia. Again, on this day, 2002, Canada awarded a gold medal after an international sport-fixing conspiracy was revealed. What sport did we get a gold medal in? Let us know. It is Pumpjacks Trivia here on the Sports Cage. We're streaming on X, on YouTube, and, of course, at sportscage.com and live on the radio at 620 CKRM.
Think about the voices that kept you company on early mornings, late nights, long drives home, the songs you grew up with, the ones you still know every word to, the games you listen to through long summer days and harvest dust. For 100 years, 620 CKRM has been right there with you. And this year, CKRM turns 100. So we're celebrating the only way we know how. Big, bold, and unforgettable. You're invited to 100 years in one night. Saturday, July 18th at the Connexus Arts Center, honoring the icons who made CKRM what it is today. Tickets go on sale soon, so keep listening to find out how to get yours. 100 years in one night. Brought to you by YAC Auctions, Connexus Arts Center, Souls Harbor Rescue Mission, Linex, Whitewood Livestock, Smart Investing Solutions with Brian Golly, Olympic RTMs, and McBids. Here's to the past, the present, and the night we celebrate it all together.
Gordon tells us why he called Brian Golly of Smart Investing Solutions.
Well, actually, we heard Brian's commercial on CKRM, and at the time I was just retiring, so I was looking for a financial advisor. I would recommend my family, friends, or anybody to contact Brian. He's a super knowledgeable fella.
Don't guess with your money. Call Brian at 306-546-2533. SmartInvestingSolutions.ca.
The Early Bird Spring Sale is on now at Extreme Hockey and Sport. The entire store is 15 to 25% off. Brands like Yeti, CCM, Bauer, all clothing and apparel. If it's in stock, it's on sale, and it must go to make room for new product. All purchases in February qualify for a custom Yeti summer package valued at $5,000. Locally owned, community-focused Extreme Hockey and Sport. 1425 McIntyre Street, conveniently located at the Cooperator Center and online at extremehockey.net.
When you play Sports Select, you're part of more than the game. You're backing over 12,000 sport, culture, and recreation groups across Saskatchewan funded through Sask Lotteries. So go ahead, make your picks at sportselect.com, generate your QR code, and lock in your bet at your local Lotto Spot retailer. Every play is 100% legal, and every ticket supports your community. Sports Select. When you're ready to play, bet on the original. Must be 18 plus. Please play responsibly.
Back to our regular spot, Pumpjacks Cathedral.
You know, I thought Pumpjacks was a kind of boot polish till last month.
What are you getting?
Kerwin's crispy ribs and a cold pint of local craft. Crispy, meaty, beautiful.
You had me at meaty.
Plus, we got live music on the weekends, big screens. This place is basically my second marriage.
And way cheaper than the first.
On the corner of Albert and 13th, Pumpjacks Cathedral Saloon and Steakhouse. Come early, stay late. The place where friends meet.
It's time for Sportscage Trivia for Pumpjacks. Great food, cold local draft, and a place that feels like home.
Winter's not...
Alrighty, it is the Sports Cage on a Tuesday. Welcome back. Dave Thomas filling in for Barney Shankaruk and Tegan Whitco. Colson Schultz is pushing buttons on the other side of the board. As I understand, we're going to the Bridge City where Greg is standing by this afternoon for Pumpjacks Trivia. Hey, Greg, snowing in Saskatoon yet?
Yeah, it's coming down pretty good here now.
Oh. Can you keep it?
It's coming down and she's blowing pretty good.
Oh, wow. And you're not intending on keeping it or anything like that? You can't keep it up that way?
No.
All right.
I'm just standing out the back window of my garage here looking at the deer in my backyard. So
nice. In Saskatoon?
Listen to the station, yeah. Well, I'm just west of Saskatoon.
Okay. Well, that's all right.
Pike Lake area.
Oh, I love Pike Lake area. I've been there many, 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 many wonderful summers. It's fantastic. Mm-hmm. Well, Greg, let's get down to business. Are you an Olympic follower?
Well, I do watch the Olympics somewhat, so I'm hoping I got the right answer.
Okay, so what sports intrigue you the most in the Winter Olympics?
Well, I like snowboarding, skiing, and hockey.
Perfect. Okay. Well, let's see if this works out for you then, Greg. The question is, on this day in 2002, Canada was awarded a gold medal after an international sport-fixing conspiracy was revealed. What sport did we get a gold medal in?
Actually, I think it was women's hockey.
In women's hockey? Greg, I'm sorry. It is not.
Am I wrong?
Yes, It's not women's hockey. It was actually figure skating. Remember Jamie Salé and David Pelche?
Yes.
They were awarded a silver despite a flawless routine as they lost to the Russians in what turned out to be a conspiracy as the Russians paid off the French judge to lower her marks to give the Russians the gold and the Canadians the silver. However, it was found out that was all just so that the Russians would then vote for a French skater later on. It was movie worthy, not kidding you. And so the Canadians were upgraded to a gold medal following that, and they did the rounds and the circuits following. It was incredible, but unfortunately not women's hockey.
Well, Dave, it was a good guess. I didn't know the answer, and I just kind of did a wag.
Well, I appreciate it. And you do get a free lunch, however, from Pumpjacks just for playing along. So next time you're in Regina, you let us know. We'll hook you up for lunch.
Thanks, Dave.
You're very welcome, Greg. Thank you for playing along. Pumpjacks Trivia for Pumpjacks Cathedral. Now what happens is that the jackpot will grow to $100 from Pumpjacks, and we'll do it next week. So again, 2002, Salé and Pelche. One of the, again, vote rigging. It was like, I remember at the time there was even talk about the mob being involved. I'm not sure if it really got to that level, as, like I say, wagering wasn't as predominant as it is today, as we, of course, do our sprinkle of the day a little bit later on for Sports Select. But 2002, yes, it was Jamie Salé and David Pelche that had their silver medals awarded, or I guess increased, if you will, to gold. And I believe, now again, I believe if I remember correctly, the Russians actually got to keep their gold medal as well. So they were co-gold medalists, if you will, back in 2002. So something obviously to think about. Okay, coming up a little bit later on, we're going press coverage with Glen Suitor. Going to talk about all things that are happening in football, including the National Football League. We are going to hear from Liam Pue of the Regina Pats. Boy, big week for the Regina Pats. They played that atrocious schedule, if you will, 5 games in 7 days, and they get 4 out of 5 wins, including the last 4 in a row, and find themselves 7th in the Eastern Conference. Yes, applause worthy, to say the very least. And a hole-in-one.
Well, I have cheering, I have applause, I got a lot of buttons.
All right. Well, both seem to make sense. We'll hear from Liam Pue coming up in a little bit. And, hey, you know what? Speaking of hole-in-one, I read today, Tiger Woods is going to try to play in the Masters. Did you see that?
The title I saw was he wasn't ruling it out.
Okay.
Which is a little less committal than your language. That's all.
But doesn't mine get more clickbait?
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
That Tiger is going to try to play in the Masters?
You're taking our clickbait title lessons very to heart.
Yeah, okay. True. True. Hey, so there's one GOAT, right, when it comes to Tiger Woods.
Uh-huh.
Who would you say is the best athlete of all time? Many would argue for a guy that turned 63 today.
I don't know. Well, I had a sarcastic answer immediately popped into my head first. Not giving that one.
You can. That's encouraged.
Do you know who Tyler Toney is? Do you know who Tyler Toney is? Didn't think so.
No.
Are you familiar with the YouTube group Dude Perfect?
Yes, unfortunately.
Yeah. He is more or less their lead man, and he seems to be extremely capable at all athletics. That's all. That was my joking answer, which I actually am stealing from another person who said it first. But anyways.
That's okay.
I digress. I don't know who's turning 63 today that would be considered the GOAT, because Tom Brady ain't that old yet.
No.
And I think Gretzky's birthday was a few months ago.
Yep.
And he's older.
Mm-hmm. He turned 65. Remember, he can collect. Oh, yeah. He can collect his pension in Canada.
I don't know if he's still eligible, but yeah, that's a whole other discussion.
Yes, it is. You pay in, you should be able to take out. Anyways, we'll move on. We're leaving tax talk to Arash momentarily.
Sure. Who is?
If you talk to Trevor Harris,
okay,
and I know that this. So this player would rank as his GOAT, greatest athlete of all time. He would tell you that in a heartbeat. And he will argue with his teammates endlessly that this guy is the best of all time.
I know where we're going then.
You do?
So that would be, because I remember that conversation that we had with Trevor, because him and Emlis argue over who is the GOAT of basketball.
Yes, they do.
MJ or LeBron.
100%. And today, Michael Jordan today is 63.
Mm-hmm. And I'm the third party who says Steph Curry, but we can leave that discussion too.
Whoa. Now, okay, you're saying best basketball player, or are you going athlete?
Oh, best athlete? Best basketball player is Steph, because he makes you feel like anybody can play basketball, because he looks like a short guy out there just shooting hoops, and you're like, oh, then I can do it. Then you realize he's 6'3", and you're like, okay, maybe I can't. But
well, the YouTube chat, Ed said Bo Jackson.
Yeah, I would sooner put Bo Jackson as greatest athlete of all time than probably Michael Jordan.
Really?
He played 2 sports, one of which is baseball, which, again, hitting a baseball is the hardest thing to do in sports.
You're not going to like my answer. My answer wouldn't be either of them for greatest athlete of all time.
Well, who's yours?
I would really think you probably have to... Don't you have to nominate Deion Sanders?
Yeah, you would, because he did it as well.
He did baseball, football.
Exactly.
Did them both at an extremely high level. And again, when it comes to Bo Jackson, we will never know, right? Because when he dislocated his hip, it pretty much was done.
Exactly.
As a football player.
It's the whole Mario Lemieux, Wayne Gretzky conversation. That's what that is there, in my opinion.
Oh.
Well, everyone asks, like, would Mario have passed Wayne if he didn't get hurt? That's what everyone asks, right?
Well, that's true.
That's all I'm saying is, like, Sanders and Jackson both did it at an elite level. Sanders just did it for longer, so has more levity to it because he was able to sustain it, right?
Has a statistical, yeah.
So, like, that's where I'm like, then you have to almost go by the individual performances. Which individual performance was impressive? Which you can't take anything away from Deion Sanders for that. He's called primetime for a reason.
You know what? There's a number of athletes from the Olympic Games that don't get the spotlight that professional athletes do.
Is very true.
That should be weighed in and considered on that.
Yeah, well, even we'll definitely talk about this with Arash because he's brought up Kingsbury, our Moguls gold medalist now this year.
Yeah.
Who is something of a legend amongst Canadian moguls because he has been very successful. But we only see them every 4 years because that's the only time it comes around.
You know, so my mind jumped to Katrina Lemaidon just because, like, if you've ever heard her speak, like, she's amazing, and what her body went through is insane. Silken Lawman also. And now I'm trying to think of the winter-summer athlete. I think she's from Manitoba, did cycling and speed skating, Clara Hughes. Is that right? I think that's Clara Hughes that I'm thinking of.
Your sports knowledge is deeper than mine, so.
Big, phenomenal athlete right there, too, right? Like, it's just kind of eerie. But anyways, Greg, thank you for playing along. I don't know how that discussion continued that far. And I thank you for weighing in on our YouTube chat or whether it's on Dave. And you too. And the Prairie Land Rentals text line at 306-936-6262. And again, a lot of people are saying Michael Jordan. But again, the question and the answer to Pumpjacks trivia was figure skating. 2002 gold medal awarded to Canada after the international sports fixing conspiracy was revealed. What sport did we get a gold medal in? Yes, it was figure skating and pairs figure skating, to be more specific. Okay, we'll take one break and come back on the other side with Arash Madani. Boy, do we have a lot to talk to Arash about as we go coast to coast. You're watching us on YouTube, on X, on Sportscage.com, and of course, we are on the radio. If you're out and have some road conditions to report, we're here for that. 306-936-6262, again, is the text line, and we're on the radio at 620 CKRM.
Winter's not done yet, but your home projects can be. Finish the season strong with Freeze Tallman. From updating interior doors and trim to boosting attic insulation that helps keep heating costs down, Freeze Tallman has what you need. Thinking about a home office or finally setting up that home gym? Now's the time. And when it's cold outside, staying warm means staying in, so Freeze Tallman delivers right to your door. Visit freezetallman.com. Freeze Tallman. Locally owned, family grown. Rooted in our community for 70 years.
What's going on in the markets? When is the right time to invest? What should you do with your money today? When Doug had questions, he talked to Brian Gawley.
What I see with Brian is he actually puts in the time and he spends some of his own money to go to conferences and get the latest up-to-date stuff, what's going on, and seems to have a passion for it.
Don't guess with your money this RRSP season.
I would definitely recommend Brian because he's done well for us.
Call Brian Gawley at Smart Investing Solutions, 546-2533.
If you've got a Steelcraft garage door, you've got a door with parts manufactured and assembled right here in Canada. A door with better insulation and seal, plus a warranty you're probably never going to use. And if you don't have a Steelcraft garage door, you should get one. Don't just hang a door, install a Steelcraft. Turn curb appeal into curb envy.
Steelcraft door, Steelcraft door, Steelcraft door. We offer more.
Steel-craft.ca.
Get it hot, get it fast, Western Pizza.
Been a long day, your feet hurt, your brain is fried, and now supper? You're staring into the fridge, contemplating your options, but your energy says, let's just not. Now imagine golden, crispy pizza loaded with all the Greek favorites. Feta, olives, tangy tomato sauce, fresh veggies, and melted mozzarella. Every bite is like a Mediterranean vacation for your taste buds, and you didn't lift a finger. Western Pizza. Dine in or take out today.
Get it hot, get it fast, Western Pizza.
The Sports Cage Clutch Performer, brought to you by Kellen Solar. 35 years of experience, moving water from a dugout or well without electricity. Visit kellensolar.com to find out more about your livestock operation.
How do I tell you? We got a lot to choose from when it comes to some heroic performances over the long weekend and clutch performances with the Sports Cage, of course, Clutch Performer, brought to you by Kellen and Kellen Solar, by the way. The two that I was going to nominate, number one was the University of Regina Cougars women's basketball team. They played a great playoff game on Saturday evening. They didn't know who their opponent was going to be, but they drew it up precisely. They advanced to the next round with a big victory, so congratulations to the U of R women's basketball team. The other nominee, and I was going to say Rachel Holman, because she lost 3 games in a row, and I think they kind of lost. Again, they're the best team in the world, number 1 ranked going into the Olympics. And I think they kind of lost their mojo or their confidence a little bit in losing 3 games in a row, having to deal with the release controversy at the Winter Olympic Games, which 65% of you at sportscage.com say, no, it's not a factor, don't worry about it, blah, blah, blah. Having said all that, I think she overcame that. She's got a couple of big wins. So Rachel Homan maybe gets the clutch performer today at the Olympic Games, coming up with a big victory over unbeaten Sweden to keep her hopes of the playoffs on the line. Again, she is up against it right now. So Can I go Rachel Homan? Is that okay?
Yeah, that works for me.
Okay.
I'll give my honorable clutch performer mention to, I think, just the Regina Pats as a whole. I mean, they've had some clutch individual performances between Liam Pue tying things up at 6-6, and then I think it was Zach Lansard had the shootout winner. So they've had some clutch performances there. But I was going to give my clutch performer to the emergency backup goaltender of the Greenville Swamp Rabbits.
The E-Bug for the Greenville Swamp Rabbits. Okay.
Because he's not just the E-Bug, he's also their social media manager. So he had to stop live tweeting the game during the first intermission and run down and sit on the bench.
Wow.
Which reminds me of a clutch performer I pulled, I think it was last fall, where there was a high school game and the kid's doing some color play-by-play because he's like the third string QB or something, whatever, right?
Yes.
And I think they were just blowing the game out of the way, so the coach was like, yeah, we'll put him in. So they had to grab him from the broadcast booth and take him down onto the field. And so I'm like, nice. There we go. Yeah. These are some of my favorite ones. So, but yeah. Oh, sorry, guys. Tweets are going to be a little late. I got to go sit on the bench.
That's awesome.
So
good clutch performer. Well played.
You as well.
That was well done. Again, Clutch Performer is brought to you by Kellen Solar. 35 years of experience moving water from a dugout or well without electricity. Visit kellensolar.com to find out more for your livestock operation. Going to be joining Arash Madani coast to coast momentarily. Having said that, though, okay, so they brought a quarterback out of the broadcast booth.
Yes.
To jump into the game.
Yes. I believe that's what it... he could have been a different player, position or whatever, but I believe that's what he was.
I would play with, I would say at least with extreme confidence that if that were to happen during a Saskatchewan Roughrider game, we could probably bet that it would be Luke Mullender that they pull in on that.
I would agree with that.
However, Wes Cates.
That's also possible, yeah.
Like if I had to take Cates or Mullender and play one,
ooh,
Mullender would get longevity, right? Because I think he could just go battle in the trenches.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, but Cates, if you need a couple of explosion runs, he'd be there for that.
If we're in the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter and you need just a couple explosive plays, Wes is definitely not a bad option.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I've this triggered a thought or a memory I had or whatever. We had a few riders in studio this last year.
Yes,
all great experiences, great conversations, but. Two of them, Jake Mayer and Mike Rose, both did a little bit of talk about maybe getting into broadcasting, having interest in that and whatnot, right?
Mm-hmm.
And after the conversations they had, I was doing my editing here and I had a thought. I was like, you know what would be really funny? And Jake's, of course, with Ottawa now, so this can't happen. But it was like, it would be really funny if we had them both back next year. And for Halloween, they went as Dave Thomas and Luke Mullender. I thought that would have been really good.
That would have been solid.
I'm just saying. So now I am sad to see Jake in Ottawa. Mostly for that reason. And, of course, really appreciated the conversations we had. He was a great guy.
Yeah, that's right. But it's more so for you, the Halloween opportunity.
I thought it was a fantastic idea. I'm just saying.
The Halloween opportunity with Jake Mayer and Mike Rose.
I'm just saying. I think they could pull it off.
I'm not suggesting that they couldn't for a single second. All right. If you're following the Olympics along in Italy, again, it was a good day on the ice for our curling teams. We did win a gold medal in the team pursuit in short track speed skating. Again, repeat from our medal that we won back in 2022. So congratulations to the team. They probably will not race once again, which means that they are probably going to call it a career. But again, so far so good. That's pretty cool that they win a gold medal today. As mentioned on the ice, Canada will be playing Czechia in the quarterfinal tomorrow after a 3-2 victory. And I'm just checking to see whether or not that's a final score between Latvia and Sweden. Last I saw it was 3-1 for Sweden leading Latvia. The winner of that game will play the Americans in another quarterfinal, also advancing today, Germany and Switzerland. So that's what the quarterfinals are going to look like when it comes to tomorrow in Milano Cortina. Also should mention that the Canadian women, they defeated Switzerland 2-1. And of course, as we Canadians are, we didn't win by enough. Really? A win's a win's a win. And it was a semifinal win, so Canada will get gold or silver. They'll play the Americans. That game is on Thursday, so not tomorrow, but Thursday for the women's final in Olympic hockey. Sorry, I got distracted. I didn't realize that NHL teams were back at it today.
Are they NHL?
NHL teams are back at practice. They're eligible to practice.
Oh, I thought you were saying they're playing games, and I was like, wait a minute.
See, and that seems exorbitantly long, no? Because the first games aren't back in the NHL till the 25th. So that's 8 days of practice, right?
Yeah.
Between now and then.
Maybe you just want to keep the rest of your players warm, because the guys coming back from the Olympics are all going to be warm, ready to go. Some of them on hot streaks.
It's funny that you say warm and on hot streaks. The terminology I would use is exhausted.
Not wrong, but I mean, you come back after an excellent tournament, winning a medal or performing better than you expect. I think you come back with a little bit of a jump in your step and ready to go, right? So that's where I'm thinking of it. Now, if you're like US or Canada, one of the teams that expects to be in the gold medal game, and you come back with a silver or lower, maybe you drag your feet a bit. But
true. But again, like, okay, so look at some of the players that are going to be coming back from the Canadian roster, right?
Mm-hmm.
Connor McDavid has got to go back, and he's got to play in Edmonton right away. Like, you can't give him a couple of days rest.
No.
Like, you need him for your playoff push.
Yep.
Same thing with Matthew Tkachuk in Florida, right? Florida, at one point, were the basement of the league. They made a little bit of a push going into the Olympic break. You can't have him sitting on his hands, right?
No, not at all.
So he's back in, and he went into the tournament injured, right? Same with Brad Marchand.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And Brad has sat out the last couple of games. Apparently, he will play in the quarterfinal tomorrow. Now, Nathan McKinnon did not practice today for Canada, but John Cooper, the head coach, has said, no, don't worry. He is fine. It was just a maintenance day, despite we all see him laboring with a leg injury after the last game against France.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then Macklin Celebrini is the San Jose Sharks, so they'll need him back soon, too.
Oh. Remember we had that discussion about Leon Draisaitl? And if the Oilers would want to move him. And again, at the Olympic Games, when he was practicing with Germany, he said, yeah, I was misquoted, I misunderstood, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And so, but I still said, like, if he's a problem, I know that San Jose would never, ever, ever entertain it. But let's just say that we're playing fantasy right now, right?
That's what it sounds like.
I know, right? So think of this. If Leon Draisaitl to San Jose for Macklin Celebrini, again, there is no way that San Jose is ever going to do that.
Nope.
But if Edmonton could find a way to sweeten the pot, would that be in a trade? Like, could you see Connor McDavid and Macklin Celebrini?
I mean, we've seen how good it is already.
Oh, I know. Isn't that ridiculous?
Uh-huh.
And I will be the first one right here. I will admit, I'll tell you right now, when they announced that Macklin Celebrini was on a line with Connor McDavid at practice, I'm like, John Cooper, what are you doing? But was I wrong?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and with Tom Wilson, and then late in the periods when they put Nathan McKinnon on that line with Celebrini, and like, wow.
Cheat code, just a little bit.
But that, like, again, clearly, they wanted to find someone, and they said, right, that can think the game at Connor McDavid's level.
Yeah, and if he's doing it at this age and at this speed, goodness.
Absolutely.
Like, I watched a clip of there's a clip making it around on social media of just his one of his shifts in this last game against France, Celebrini, and he's just circling the net and circling the ice, just constantly moving, constantly dumping the puck to guys, whatever. And honestly, the video that I saw, the commenter was like, this reminds me of Steph playing basketball, where he's just constantly moving, constantly dragging people with him because he's Steph Curry. If you're not guarding him, that's a mistake, even when he doesn't have the ball. And it's just reminding the poster of that, where he's just constantly moving, constantly finding the better spot without the puck, and just seamless. Like, again, as a teenager.
Yeah. Oh, a 19-year-old, right?
Yeah. Like,
he could be playing in the Western Hockey League right now, right? Then again, there probably would have been some NCAA money. So Leaving that one there. Leaving it there. Stop. Stop. Full stop. On the Prairie Land Rentals text line at 306-936-6262. A lot of people are going with Michael Jordan, greatest athlete of all time. Again, agreeing with Trevor Harris. And why would you ever dispute the quarterback of your Saskatchewan Roughriders? Just saying.
Yeah, I hear that. Yeah. I wasn't alive for Michael Jordan's dominance.
No.
And when I was alive for it, I was just barely here, so I don't remember much of it.
Do you think at some point we're going to say, what if, when it came to Tiger Woods? You know, what if he hadn't wrecked his knee? What if, the whole off-course stuff hadn't happened that really seemed to rattle him? And then the car accident, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe. At the same time, he accomplished so much. So, what's the what if? What if he never lost, period? Like, we actually witnessed somebody who could just straight up dominate every single match he's in?
Well, that's where he was at, though.
Exactly.
He was at before the off-course stuff, and I'm going to leave it at that. But he put on the red shirt on Sunday, and nobody was touching him because everybody feared him. No one thought they could compete with him because he had that much of a mental edge.
Yeah.
And then he lost that. And the what if is like, how many of Jack Nicklaus's records would he have broken? How many majors would he have won? How many tournaments would he have won? Yeah. Again, he was the first billion-dollar athlete in sports, right? So what if those things hadn't happened? I don't know if that still ranks him as one of the top athletes of all time, but he's got a rank up there. Like
he's somewhere high up there, that's for sure. Because, again, it was flat out he wasn't losing.
No, that's right. Right?
Which, anytime you do that in whatever sport it is, doesn't matter if it's table tennis or lawn bowling, you're probably up there.
Well,
those are some good sports I just built. Not to give myself a pat on the back, but
you certainly did. You certainly did. Well, we're going to try to connect with Arash and see what's up there in just a little bit. That is coming up. Also, after 5 o'clock, we're going to go press coverage with Glen Suitor. We've got the sports ticker to get to, update you on what's happening in local sports. That's just around the corner. So we take a break. Again, if there's a road condition, we've had freezing rain in and around the Regina area, southern Saskatchewan. We are under an orange snow accumulation warning. Yes, winter is coming back, and it is going to be fierce as we're hearing lots of drifting and blowing snow out on the perimeter outside of Regina this afternoon. So again, let us know a road condition at 306-936-6262. Let's take that break for now, though. We are streaming on YouTube, X at sportscage.com, and on your radio at 620 CKRM.
To celebrate CKRM's 100th anniversary, we're honoring the icons who helped shape this station into what it is today. Our very first 620 CKRM icon inductee, Willie Cole. Here's a behind the mic moment with Willie Cole.
The Riders are the ultimate sports holding in this province. I had the good fortune of starting out with the CFL in Calgary as a sideline voice, along with Avonlee's Flash, Ken Ewans, and Henry Viney. That's where I got started, covering the Bombers for 2 years in Winnipeg. But coming here, when I had this opportunity, I got to be not only the sideline voice, but in-stadium field voice for almost 30 years. That really was something for us. But then you could see, as the Riders starting a win mentality, I mean, we came through the era of Riders where we were selling piles of grain to save their bacon, doing radiothons. But as soon as they started to win, and then pick off that, the Grey Cups and being there for them, being part of the national audience was huge for this company. Yes, and the Rams, they're a huge junior holding for football. Their record's incredible. The Regina Pats, over 100-year history, to be part of that over the many years, that kind of tied it all up and gave us an identity over and above country music. It was a combination, and you're right, it got into every household.
To hear the full extended interview, visit our 100th year page at 620ckrm.com or sasktoday.ca.
Beat the winter blahs with hot deals from the Harvard Media Winter Auction. Auction starts Thursday.
Hi, it's Cody.
And it's Gloria.
And here are some great Regina items to keep your eye on in the Harvard Media Winter Auction.
$1,000 gift cards for tree removal, gift cards for big steel box storage, a Can-Am quad, and a lot more.
The Harvard Media Winter Auction starts Thursday. Visit harvardmediaauctions.com for all the details.
The Early Bird Spring Sale is on now at Extreme Hockey and Sport. The entire store is 15 to 25% off. Brands like Yeti, CCM, Bauer, all clothing and apparel. If it's in stock, it's on sale, and it must go to make room for new product. All purchases in February qualify for a custom Yeti summer package valued at $5,000. Locally owned, community-focused Extreme Hockey and Sport. 1425 McIntyre Street, conveniently located at the Cooperator Center, and online at extremehockey.net.
It's the start of a new year. Time to get financially fit. If you're looking to open an RRSP or a TFSA, maximize an existing account, or update your investment mix, Cooperators can provide the personalized advice and service you need. Want to start the new year on the right financial foot? Contact your local advisor to build a plan that works for you. Cooperators, investing in your future together.
Winter in Saskatchewan tests everything, our patience, vehicles, and sometimes our bumpers. From icy parking lot dings to serious highway mishaps, choosing local matters. At Regina Motor Products Collision Center, we're Saskatchewan owned, run, and we drive these roads too. An SGI accredited full-service collision center working on all makes and models. Submit your SGI claim and book your appraisal. It's easy. When you need repairs you can trust, it's neighbors helping neighbors. Regina Motor Products Collision Center, south at Highways 1 and 6 Albert Street, rmpchevrolet.com.
Get it hot, get it fast, Western Pizza.
After shuttling the kids to hockey, dance, piano, and what was next? Sumo wrestling? The last thing you want to do is cook. Imagine this instead. Piping hot Western pizza loaded with cheese, melty toppings, and that perfect crispy crust ready to hit the table in minutes. No chopping, no stirring, no mess. Just a warm, delicious reward for surviving the day. Western Pizza. Dine in or take out today before your stomach demands its own carpool.
And get it hot, get it fast, Western Pizza.
It's time for the Sports Ticker. The Early Bird Spring Sale is on now at Extreme Hockey. 15 to 25% off store-wide. 1425 McIntyre Street. Online at extremehockey.net. And now open in Moose Jaw.
Sportscage ticker, we're golden today at the Milan Cortina Olympics. We win in the short track speed skating team freestyle event. It was the chase event that Canada wins gold in. Congratulations to the Canadians defending their title from 2022. Also today in Italy, the men's hockey team were interested spectators, we'll say, watching Czechia Denmark. Czechia won 3-2. That means Czechia will take on the Canadians in the quarterfinal tomorrow. Other quarterfinal, or I guess play-in action that will affect the quarterfinals sees Germany defeat France 5-1, Switzerland blanked Italy 3-0, and Sweden, last look, was leading Latvia 3-1. Of course, they will take on the Swedes, will take on the U.S. in quarterfinal play tomorrow. Curling today, Rachel Homan defeated Sweden 8-6. Canada defeated Great Britain as far as the men go 9-5. What that means is that Homan's playoff hopes are still very, very much alive, while in the men's event, the Canadians have clinched a playoff spot, so congratulations to Brad Jacobs and his crew. Only one game scheduled in junior hockey tonight, and it's a makeup game from a storm earlier. You'd have to think that the Prince Albert Timberjacks and Martinsville Chiefs of the Prairie Junior Hockey League are thinking to themselves, but they're scheduled to play tonight in Martinsville at 8:15. And, of course, back here in the Queen City, the U Sports CCAA Canadian Curling Championships are on. They began this afternoon. Both U of R teams had the afternoon off. They're in action tonight at 7:30. The Regina Cougars are skipped by Chloe Johnston. On the women's side, they take on Guelph, while the men are skipped by Carter Williamson. They play the Carleton Ravens at 7:30 again tonight over at the Cali. You can get tickets, details, event information online, or of course at the Cali Club in person. And again, 7:30 is game time for both University of Regina Cougars teams this evening. That is your Sportscage Sports Ticker, brought to you by Extreme Hockey, as we get set for hour number 3 coming up momentarily. After 5 o'clock, we'll be checking in with Glen Suitor in press coverage. We'll also hear from Liam Pue of the Regina Pats. And if you missed Kirk Muyres live from Italy, don't worry, we will have that conversation for you. And whether or not Canada is cheating when it comes to the Olympic Games and curling. Is that a boo for me suggesting that they're cheating? Because I wasn't suggesting. I was just saying that's the question at sportscage.com.
I know, you're just the messenger.
Thank you. But
there are flurries outside, by the way, to give a little weather update.
Look at you go, you meteorologist, you.
Yeah, that's a bit... No.
No?
No, not a meteorologist here. No.
We always appreciate you joining in on the conversation all the time, whether that be on our YouTube chat or, of course, as I mentioned, on the Prairieland Rentals text line at 306-936-6262. Some items up for discussion there. We talked about the greatest athlete of all time. Michael Jordan is 63 today. Agree, disagree, suggest your own. Or the other one with the French Ice Hockey Federation banishing one of their own players from the Olympic Games after his actions against Tom Wilson when Canada played France in the preliminary round at the Olympic Games. And there's a lot of people that are kind of backing the player. And the team has come out and said, no, you can't get rid of him. It cost us a game because you took one of our brothers away.
It cost you a game that ended 10-2, right?
No. They're talking about the one today against Germany that they lost 5-1.
That one. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, much closer. Same ratio of score.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Another conversation we got to have is about sprinkling.
Oh, we should sprinkle. Well, do you want to do that after 5 o'clock, or do you want to? Let's do that after 5. Do you think?
I was going to say squeeze it in here.
Okay, let's do it now. Sports Select Sprinkle of the Day.
First option: Canada USA women's
hockey gold medal game.
Mm-hmm.
Americans are favored by 1.5. It's hard to dispute. I don't want to be unpatriotic, so I'm going Canada, just because I don't want to be chastised.
Fair enough.
But the Americans are the favorite. Okay, so
are you taking them straight up, or are you taking the pro line?
Oh no, I'll take the pro line for sure. It's only 1.5. It'll be a 2-goal differential.
Yeah,
at least.
Yeah,
because the U.S. were kind of all over Canada. I hate to say this, despite everything that went on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The other thing you can look into, and I was texting Barney yesterday because he's his Latvia.
Yeah,
big Latvia fan.
Latvia.
They've been eliminated now, so they're not on the list. But yesterday they were at 450, so would have been some good odds if they could beat out Sweden. But Canada still the favorite for men's hockey in Olympic hockey futures.
Yeah, and again, that one also, I would, just because of the patriotism, would go with Canada. But look at Sweden. They're fifth.
Getting no love.
No, the odds are 15, right? They're at 15. So, again, Sweden is a team that could scare some people. And now they're going to be taking on the U.S. in the quarterfinal after a 5-1 win. Again, that was a final by Latvia. So you can sprinkle there. Of course, all bets are 100% legal. You can go to your local retailer. You can go ahead and do the old pencil way. You can get a QR code, do it on your phone. There's so many ways to play and have fun with the Sprinkle of the Day and Sports Select with Sportscage. Okay, we will take that break as promised. On the other side, we're going press coverage with Glen Suitor, Liam Pue from the Regina Pats, and more still to come. It's the Sportscage streaming at YouTube, X, and sportscage.com. And on your radios at 620 CKRM.
From the towers to the tractors, country's greatest hits. 620 CKRM, a Harvard media station.
Good evening, I'm Tanner Wallace-Scribner from the SaskToday.ca newsroom with 620 CKRM News for Echo Sound in Fort Capel. Stay connected with a new cell phone from Echo Sound. Call 306-332-6711. And brought to you by Capital Automotive Group. Capital's 100K giveaway is back. See capital100k.ca for more information. Environment officials warn a major storm will bring heavy snow to southern Saskatchewan starting today. Forecasts call for 25 to 35 centimeters of snow by Thursday morning. The heaviest snowfall is expected along a corridor from Meadow Lake to Estevan. Environment Canada meteorologist Jason Colangelo explains what we'll see.
Quite a big dumping expected for especially the southeast part of the province here, as the Regina area could see potentially anywhere from kind of 25 to 30 centimeters of snow.
Snow is expected to taper off overnight on Wednesday, though hazardous travel, poor visibility, and road closures as well as power outages are possible. Drivers are advised to delay non-essential travel and prepare for worsening conditions. A Regina man is facing dozens of charges after an RCMP investigation into a long-running series of break-ins across Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan RCMP say the investigation connected 74 break-ins in 43 communities over more than 6 years. Police estimate about $50,000 in cash was stolen, along with cards, alcohol, and other items. No homes were targeted, with most break-ins involving public buildings. A 57-year-old man is charged with multiple offenses and is set to appear in Regina court tomorrow. Regina police have charged 4 individuals following a robbery investigation. Officers were called at about 5:30 p.m. Monday to the 2300 block of 12th Avenue. A 15-year-old told police that he was threatened by a group who demanded his jacket and allegedly discharged bear spray before fleeing. Police say 3 suspects matching descriptions were arrested at about 5:45, with the 4th located soon after. All 4 face a charge of robbery. Regina residents are being asked to complete an online survey about the city's accessibility plan, available until March 2nd. The city says feedback will help measure progress and identify areas needing improvement. The plan, which was approved in 2024, outlines more than 80 actions to reduce barriers in programs, services, and public spaces. So far, 33 actions are complete and 41 are in progress. Results will be included in a report to council this spring. That's 620 CKRM News. Read more stories from around your community and around the province at sastoday.ca and 620ckrm.com.
Picture this. You sit down to watch TV and suddenly your screen freezes harder than a triple axle. If you're ready for a smoother routine, Echo Sound, your SaskTel authorized dealer, has a better idea. Max TV Stream. More streaming, less buffering. A performance that actually sticks the landing. And while you're at it, glide into fast SaskTel internet and cell phone packages that are balanced, reliable, and make sense for your household. Smart entertainment, smart connectivity. Echo Sound, your SaskTel authorized dealer in Fort Qu'Appelle. EchoSound.ca.
Capital's 100K giveaway is back for 2026. The Capital Automotive Group is giving away $100,000 in cash and prizes with no strings attached. We're proud to be part of communities across Western Canada, and we know it's those communities that allow us to exist. So every once in a while, once a year to be exact, we're going to say thanks by giving away $100,000 in cash and prizes. To learn more and enter to win, check out capital100k.ca. Capital's 100K giveaway. Do not miss it.
The weather is brought to you by Line X Regina, Serious Protection, Killer Looks, 1865 McCarra Street, and Matt's Furniture. Visit mattsfurniture.ca.
A snowfall warning is in effect as we get some heavy snow coming in through the night, 15 to 20 centimeters likely by morning, and not just the snow, but also the wind. Winds have been gusting at times close to 90 kilometers per hour. That threat continues, though they do gradually back down through the night. We've also seen a little bit of freezing rain at times. That threat is negligible early on, and then later on in the night it's not a non-issue. But at least in the next little while, the potential is there during the transition from the moderate air mass to the much colder one, which is building in. The snow continues through the day on Wednesday. It will be heavy at times. Temperatures will fall down through the minus teens. Tack on another 10 centimeters or so daytime, even a few spots getting locally higher amounts, but generally averaging around 30 from this storm. Winds still breezy at times. Clearing out Wednesday night. Clouds linger, though, on Thursday, minus 18, staying in that temperature range late week. With your 620 CKRM weather forecast, I'm Precision Weather meteorologist Phil Spivak.
For 40 years, the team from Line X Regina has been protecting vehicles across Saskatchewan, and we're changing with the times. 3 generations of our family have protected your vehicles. Our business has evolved, and we're not stopping now. The next generation is here. Same family, same commitment. Ready for the next generation of truck beds, rocker panels, trailers, bumpers, and running boards in all kinds of colors. Line X Regina, 1865 McCarra Street, the next generation of protective coatings.
Broadcasting from Century Studios in downtown Regina, Harvard Media presents The Sportscage, where Saskatchewan comes to talk local sports. Brought to you by Sask Lotteries, bringing communities together. Sask Lottery products fund over 12,000 sports, culture, and recreation groups across Saskatchewan. Be part of the show. Call 1-866-767-0620 or text 306-936-6262. The Sportscage. Streaming at sportscage.com, our YouTube channel, and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
Dave Thomas in for Barney Shankruk and Tegan Whitco. Colson Schultz pushing buttons and helping out as well on this wintry Tuesday afternoon. Freezing rain, snow, drifting snow, yuckiness everywhere. seemingly in the province. If you don't have to travel tonight, don't do so. Travel not recommended warnings coming out from the highway hotline for points to the north of Regina at the moment. But again, you can bet they're going to follow suit as the brunt of the snow is starting to head our way and will continue overnight into tomorrow. An orange code, as you heard, in snow accumulation, so keeping an eye on that. What you need to know in sports today: we were golden at the Olympics today in short track speed skating. The women's and men's curling teams both won. The men's hockey team will play Czechia in the quarterfinal tomorrow after Czechia beat Denmark in a play-in game today. And then the women's hockey team, are preparing for the U.S. They will play on Thursday in the gold medal game in Italy. That's everything you need to know so far. For more, though, that we didn't know we needed to know, but we definitely do need to know, and if you can follow that, you are razor sharp on a Tuesday. It is time for press coverage for Bronco Plumbing and Heating, where professional service is guaranteed. They'll treat you right. Check them out today. Glen Suitor joins us on the line. Suits, happy Tuesday. I'm sure it's not snowing there like it is here.
Well, we got mixed snow where I live, up in North Vancouver, kind of on the mountainside, and it didn't stick, so no. And I don't want to go into what it was like today with my dog and I on a long walk this morning, which was beautiful, sunny. I won't say it. Well, I just did. I'm sorry. It's a weird winter, though, because on the West Coast in the last 3 or 4 years, probably longer, we've had a lot of snow, like a lot of snow. I mean, 8 feet of snow kind of thing. And this year, 0 snow so far. So wow. It is a different beast this year.
Friends of ours are going to Fernie, and they're anticipating 35 centimeters of snow today.
Yeah. If you get more into the interior and up north, northern BC, yeah, for sure, you're gonna see snow. Even Northern Island, I think, but right on the coast in the Lower Mainland, none so far. A little mixed yesterday morning, and that was it. But nothing stuck.
Well, before we begin our discussion, I know you're a fan of sports in general and the Olympics, and we had a conversation about the French Ice Hockey Federation sending home a player for his, is antics the right word, or just conduct, I guess, during the game. And the players of the team said, no, you should never have done that. Where do you stand on that?
Well, I really think it's determined before you even start the tournament. You put the team together as a coach, and you have to set the standard. And what is the standard? That the captains, the players themselves are most involved with to set the standard. So what do we want to do? How do we want to represent ourselves? How do we want to represent our country? And how do you want to, not only protect your teammate, but represent, what this team is all about. So once that standard is set, for some coaches, it's different. Some coaches might say, hey, if someone goes after you, you go after them. And if they, slash you go harder, and screw the rules. And some coaches will say, no, we want to stay within the rules. We don't want to be that team that has kind of the vigilante type of mentality. And because that can cause problems. It doesn't look good on our team, doesn't look good on our sport, and doesn't look good on our country. So, if that standard is set and then this guy does what he did, then he goes home. But if you're a different style coach, and, I'm not really arguing right or wrong. I have a strong opinion on fighting in hockey, but it's very unpopular with a lot of hockey people. but honestly, I think it depends on the standard that the coach has set. I mean, we've seen coaches with the Riders in past history that like it when a player crosses that line or balances on it and actually pushes it. And sometimes a coach after a game will say, we need guys like that on our team that are willing to go across the line sometime and be that physical and take the penalty, and who cares? I disagree with that approach, but there are coaches that do that. So for your debate, which was a good one, I think if that standard was set that we don't want to fight, it's Olympic hockey. Let's do our team and our country proud without the fighting. And then he does it, he goes home. If they don't have that standard and the coach is saying, hey, if someone takes a shot, go after him. I don't care what happens. Then he should have stayed right there because the coach has set that standard.
Your discussion points are amazing, how they transcend over multiple sports. Let's go. First of all, you talked about team assembly, right? That's paramount and front of mind when it comes to the Canadian Football League right now. We are 7 days in to the free agency period. There are still some names that are on the board, and you look like, whoa, that's surprising. And I'm guessing that happens year after year, but I couldn't imagine being an athlete sitting around just kind of swaying in the wind, wondering what's going to happen. Is that, I guess, the right analogy that that's happening, or there's still discussions and things going on behind the scenes?
Yeah, I think at this point in free agency, this is the downside for the players having these one-year deals and having so many guys become free agents at the end of every year. And, once sort of money is spent, and it always creeps up, it always bumps up as it gets more and more competitive. And in free agency, player, has a chance to talk to 3 or 4 different teams, and then he kind of somehow it trickles to the teams that there are 3 interested parties, and the price goes up a little bit more. And, so that's the upside for the player, no question. But after the first, day or two, then it becomes kind of watered down. There's still great players that are free, but the money has kind of been spent. And now I think teams are in the stage, I don't want to speak for teams, but it would be the stage, Dave, where they're looking at, Dominic Rhymes is still available, for instance. Now, I think Dominic Rhymes can really help any team in this league. I think he's a smooth route runner. I think he can get on top of defenses quickly. He's got nice hands. I mean, this guy's a veteran. He knows what he's doing. He's still out there, and I would guess that the number that he's going to look for now is probably gone, and he's going to be probably in that different level where he is now talked about at. Hopefully he makes more than he made last year. He's a free agent, and that's always the goal, but he might not. It might have been, it's gone so many days now, and teams have spent their money now that they might say, hey, we'll take you, but this is the number. And that's kind of where I think a lot of these guys are now. Braylon Addison's another one at Ottawa. Braylon Addison's still available as far as I checked on the website.
For an athlete, the show me deal, do you know what I mean? Like the 2 players that you mentioned, like there's guys that have proven themselves in this league. Would it be worthwhile taking an incentive-laden contract, or is that even done to the point where you could get yourself to that next level?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's done. Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's when the player basically bets on himself and says, yeah, okay, give me the lower base, but it's heavy incentive, and if I have 1,500 yards, which I expect to have, then I get paid for it, and I get more as a free agent signing with your team. So I think that's where the agents come in and start getting creative. Let's put it that way. Getting creative on. We're well into free agency now, and there's still some guys available. So now it's kind of like, what can we get them for with the budgets that are still available? And that's where agents have to get creative.
Okay, the other part, going back to the French hockey team, was that you talked about making the standards be known and setting the foundation and the stage, and that is part of what happened with the CFLPA and their report card system. Okay, this is where we think the foundation of the franchise is at. This is how we see we can take it to that next level, and establishing that early on. The NFLPA did the same thing, but their report card system has come under a bit more scrutiny so far. Your take on both of those?
Yeah, so the NFL Players Association has been doing the same thing. They've done their report cards. They make it public, which is the question that I had a few weeks back when this report card in the CFL came up. I asked the question to listeners, why wouldn't the PA first do it privately? And then if there are grievances and issues that they have with the clubs that aren't addressed by the clubs, then go public down the road. That's to add a little bit more pressure, go public and try to make it happen that way. But start first, and maybe the PA is already doing this a little bit. I haven't talked to Solomon Elamimian. I will. I've tried to reach out, so I will get to him and see what they've actually done privately to try to do it. But if you just say we're going to do a report card, it's going to be anonymous, so there'll be no names attached to any of this report card grades, and we're going to air our grievances in the public, and the teams will be forced and pushed to change. And a lot of people have sort of said, when I say I don't like that approach, start privately, and if changes aren't made when you have issues and changes aren't made, then down the road you can go public. And what that would do is it would help to strengthen the relationship between the CFLPA and the CFL and the league. The NFLPA fought with the NFL. The NFL actually won an arbitration. An independent arbitrator came in and said that this actually violates the PA agreement because it's disparaging in some ways of the teams or personnel involved with the team. And that's part of the PA agreement. You can't disparage the teams as a player. So they violated the players agreement by having a report card that's public. I'm not sure where this will go with the CFL and how much this decision in the States is going to change possibly change how it happens up here. I'm sure they are looking at it and deciding, because I think what we want to do as a league and as a PA is strengthen the bond, strengthen the fact and the trust level, so that that if you're a player, that the teams are legitimately trying to do the best they can to accommodate your issues. They're trying to pay you as much as they can within the realm of how much the clubs are making or not making, and that all is a balancing act. I get it, but let's not do something that is going to cause more issues and polarize the two sides and get them angry at each other if it's avoidable. And I saw on social media, Dave, a whole bunch of people say, there's anyone who is saying that this shouldn't be public is trying to hold down the players or not give the players a voice in this and mute the players and those things. And that is just ridiculous. That's not even remotely true. What I'm saying is do it privately. And if it leaks out or parts of it leak out, then it's a leak and it's out there, but who knows if it's true or not. When it's done by the PA publicly and it goes out there, now you've got it official. It's officially, this was what happened. And if a team looks bad or a coach looks bad in that process, I'm not sure how that helps. I think what can happen is you do it privately. If the results aren't there, if the teams don't address your issues as player association, then you go and make it public down the road and say, look, if you guys aren't going to do this, we're going to make it public, and let's see, if public opinion can help us in our cause.
Glen, Suitor press coverage on the Western Pizza guest hotline. To further the conversation, and you brought up social media first, just to say that it's fair game. But Greg made a great point towards me in a message that he sent me, and I don't have the answer for it, and you being a former player would. He said that the CFLPA report card coming out prior to the opening of free agency was manipulating the free agent process because it was determining or helping players determine where they did or didn't want to go for something that may be true or false. What's your reaction to that? To me, I felt that there's enough brotherhood but amongst the players that they already know before this comes out, don't they?
Yeah, that's the other thing about all of this is that if you're a free agent, guys in the league, and you're already making those calls. It's kind of like the legal tampering issue as well. Like it's happening anyway. The guys are communicating, they're talking. Maybe it's not official, maybe it's not the GM and the player discussing a contract just yet, or until the free agency kicks off. But it's happening anyway. So the players, if a player wants to say he's in the West and on a team in the West and he's a free agent and he says, I want to go closer to the East so I can be closer to home. I live in New York or whatever. Let's say he makes a couple of calls. He talks to his buddies that are playing in Hamilton or Toronto, and they say, hey, we like this about the organization. We don't like this about the organization. It's up to you. So that happens anyway. I mean, if you have to wait for a report card and then look at it and go, oh, they got a C- in, I don't know how they treat families. I don't like that. I'm not going. Again, I don't see, other than basically putting out there that these teams are, need to improve in these areas, and the public needs to help us make it happen. That almost tells me, or it would indicate, and I don't think it's true, but it would indicate that the teams have been told of these issues and are not doing anything about it. But that doesn't seem to have been the case. This is just a choice. And I asked Solomon Elamimian one time in the airport in Winnipeg about this, and he said, no, public pressure is good. Public pressure is good. It helps to move the needle. And it will, but these are anonymous report cards too. Let's keep that in perspective as well. So, but to your point, the players are already talking.
Much better answer than what I would have given Greg. The only thing I can contribute to the conversation is that my parents always made snap judgments when it came to report cards. So that's where I'm going to leave that. The other off-season thing I wanted to talk about, Suits, before we let you go, the UFL. I guess the CFL isn't the only team that's going to be making, or the only league that's going to be making rule changes. The UFL going to add a rule that when the ball crosses the 50-yard line, you can't punt? Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I saw this one on social media too. So so it must be true, right? It has to be true. If that's where we saw it. So, this goes really to this line in the sand about rule changes. And I know there's been all kinds of discussion and consternation and just worry and concern about the rule changes that Stuart Johnson has put into effect this coming year and also next year. And I've said many times that, well, I don't believe that we needed to make drastic changes like that, and they are drastic in some cases. I also don't think they have completely crossed the line when it comes to what makes our game uniquely Canadian and uniquely different than the NFL. And that line in the sand is different for everyone. So if you're one of the fans that think these changes are terrible, you hate them, I love your passion, and it's good that you speak up and say it. We'll see what the numbers look like. We'll see what the changes look like. I think there was a lot of pushback when it came to moving the hash marks. And I don't know about you, Dave, but I guess we have to all sort of admit that the moving of the hash marks has not affected in a negative way the game. And while there's probably not a lot of data on it, I would guess that it has increased scoring and increased the balance in offenses. So, I mean, it'd be a good question for Trevor Harris next time he's on. When they moved the hash, did it make a big difference to you guys offensively? So this is this is the across the line UFL. This is where you start to get very gimmicky. Now you take if you're doing the UFL change where you get to the 50-yard line and as soon as you cross it, you can't punt any longer. You might as well say at the 50-yard line you get an extra down. Now you get five downs to make a first down. And it takes all of the strategy of coffin corner kicks and put your defense back out there if you don't make it. All those things that is just, the core pillars of football. And those decisions, now you're just changing all of that. I've said it many times, there's been so many different leagues, not the NFL, spring leagues and winter leagues and whatever they are that start and die quite quickly down there. I doubt that the UFL is going to last very long. I really doubt it. It's interesting though, because Taylor Egglesma I've heard is starting to talk about maybe staying in the UFL for a while, and thinks that might be a quicker way to get back and get another NFL shot before signing with Winnipeg, because Winnipeg has his rights. And, I hope he doesn't wait too long or get too tied up in a league that is making drastic changes to that like that. I mean, you're just telling coaches you can't punt. So you're taking that out after the 50 year. I mean, just give the offense 5 downs or 1 extra player, and let's be done with it.
Well, and I think you hit the nail right on the head, though, when you said you don't want to be associated with something gimmicky, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I know there's been a lot of people question the stats that Stuart Johnston talked about when he talked about his changing the goalposts and taking the 10 yards out of the field and these kind of things. I'm not sure where that data came from. I'm not sure if we'll see a change in touchdowns versus field goals. It remains to be seen. But the foundations for our game and what makes it unique are the final 3 minutes, which the league has now decided they're not going to mess with. They're not going to change in any way. The final 3 minutes of the half and the game. The Canadian content, 3 downs, and basically those are your foundations, 12 players on the field. Those are your foundational, differences in our game compared to the American game and what makes us uniquely Canadian. And those ones are ones that if you cross that line, then now you're getting just gimmicky and you're going to end up being like an XFL, a USFL, whatever, that tries different things, gives players an opportunity to keep their dream alive for a while, which is good, but they don't last long.
Well said as always, Mr. Suitor. Enjoy your walk tomorrow. Think of us walking in about a foot of snow here in Saskatchewan as we do that. And again, thanks for doing this.
Hey, really quickly, doesn't Coulson look like Gladiator 2?
I don't know where that came from, but oh my
God. Look at this. I sent this to Coulson. I sent it to him. I said, hey, man, you're Gladiator 2. Paul, what's his name? Paul Mescal, I think. Is
Oh, my gosh.
He looks like a man. Gladiator. You're doing radio with Gladiator right now.
See, and he should be on the screen more. And now he's going to get his wish. Thanks,
guys. Have
golden
a good one.
Suits. Golden. Press coverage, Glen Suitor here on the Sports Cage. We need to take a time out. You're streaming and seeing Gladiator 2 on X, YouTube, and sportscage.com. You can't see him on the radio, but you sure wish you could at 620 CKRM.
Sask Lotteries has over 50 years of winning behind us. And you know what that means? Lots of winning numbers. Numbers like over 1,200 organizations funded and 12,000 plus groups supported. $6 million given away annually in community grants. And the winningest number of all? $1.4 billion given back to the people of Saskatchewan through sport, culture, and recreation. And we're just getting started. Learn more at sasklotteries.ca.
Get it hot, get it fast, Western Pizza.
Been a long day, your feet hurt, your brain is fried, and now supper? You're staring into the fridge, contemplating your options, but your energy says, let's just not. Now imagine golden, crispy pizza loaded with all the Greek favorites. Feta, olives, tangy tomato sauce, fresh veggies, and melted mozzarella. Every bite is like a Mediterranean vacation for your taste buds, and you didn't lift a finger. Western Pizza. Dine in or take out today.
Get it hot, get it fast, Western Pizza.
It's time for the Sports Ticker, brought to you by Steel Craft Doors Regina, made in Western Canada for Western Canadians.
All right, quick update from the Olympics. Canada wins gold in short track speed skating today. Canada men's hockey team will play Czechia in the quarterfinal tomorrow after Czechia defeated Denmark 3-2. Both our men's and women's curling teams won their games today. The men have clinched a playoff spot. Rachel Homan is still in contention. One game Prairie Junior Hockey League tonight. Martinsville home to Prince Albert. And the U Sports CCAA Canadian Curling Championships are on to the Cali. Both U of R Cougars teams playing tonight at 7:30. That is your Sportscage ticker for Steelcraft Doors. It's time now for another round of Pat Chat, and boy, what a way to celebrate a 16th birthday. Liam Pue joining us from the Regina Pats. Scores in the shootout, got a goal in regulation in one heck of a seesaw battle yesterday. Liam, thanks so much for taking time again for the Sportscage. You're looking good as a 16-year-old.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
So, of course, the biggest question for a 16-year-old is, when do you get your driver's license?
Yeah, unfortunately in BC, they take quite a while to get your driver's license, so I'm not going to be able to start till I'm 16 in the summer.
Oh, wow. So you're still going to have to rely on rinks for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I'm going to need some chauffeurs for the rest of the year.
Well, you'll be a popular carpool mate, if you will, for the season that you're putting together as a 16-year-old. First of all, let's just go back. Swift Current takes a 3-0 lead. They're up 6-3. The belief never seemed to end. You guys just found a way. Tell me about that experience.
Yeah, no, it was a pretty crazy game. Obviously, 2 goalie pulls from both teams as well, which I've never seen before. But yeah, it was a good game. Obviously, we got down by 2 3-goal leads, and I don't know, we just found a way to get ourselves back in it, which was good to see from our group, and especially after the week we had with our games, it was definitely good to see.
How hard was it to keep focused? 5 games, 7 nights, and the talk going into the week was, hey, we've got to go ahead and make sure that we're making a push here for the playoffs. How hard was it to keep the focus small so that you could get the big result that you wanted?
Yeah, it was definitely tough because we knew this was a big week for us, and trying to really secure that playoff spot for us. So we all kind of knew what was up for grabs, and with these 2 points every game. But our group did a great job showing up every day to the rink and showing up to the games, being prepared and ready, and I thought we did a great job.
How's it gone for you personally? Again, really seemed to, in my eyes, have found your footing. Not that you really needed much in that way, but boy, getting some key goals at critical times, the coaches trusting you, whether it be a situation late in a hockey game or even in a shootout.
Yeah, no, this second half, I think definitely the foot kind of switches and you kind of start to get your feel, especially in the WHL. You kind of start to get a feel for things and gain some confidence on the ice, which is huge if you have the confidence in the game. I mean, you can do a lot of things if you're confident in yourself. So no, yeah, this is definitely felt like I've taken a big step recently, and yeah, we're hoping to keep it forward and do what I can to help the team make the playoffs.
Newly 16-year-old Liam Pue joining us on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline here on Pat's Chat. And again, now in 7th spot in the Eastern Conference. How do you keep the momentum rolling? You got a tough test on Friday against Edmonton coming in.
Yeah, I mean, I think we just gotta keep playing how we've been playing. And once we get a lead, we gotta be satisfied with winning by 3-2, 2-1, whatever it is. And yeah, I mean, we've been playing great so far. So if we can keep the foot on the pedal, I think we'll be on the right track.
How has this season worked for you developmentally? You're playing under 18 AAA. You're also playing in the Western Hockey League. You're practicing with both, playing with both. How is one another helping each, if you understand what my question is?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think there's benefits to both. Obviously, if me or Maddox or whatever struggling up at the WHL level, it's nice to be able to kind of go down to that U18 level and put a couple pucks in the back of the net, gain some confidence, and then be able to come back up and hopefully carry that confidence into the WHL.
Liam, I need your definition then of struggling, because at no point have I seen you struggle. What is struggling for you that needs you to gain that confidence?
Yeah, I mean, I think just coming into the WHL, it's a different game than U18 hockey. It's a a lot different. So I think just being able to help the team however you can and just making sure you're using the minutes that you get on the ice wisely and trying to limit your mistakes as much as you can, even though that's it's hard to do sometimes. But yeah.
To quote your coaches, Ken Schneider said in a post-game interview, he said that Brad Haroff had the great idea to put Liam and Maddox together on a line. You're not going to see that with two guys that can't drive themselves to the rink, but there's that level of trust. I said that to Brad Haroff, and Brad said that was a no-brainer to do. Tell me about playing with a fellow 15-year-old and the confidence that your team has in you.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing to have Maddox there with me. Obviously, he's a pretty special and gifted player, and we're lucky to have him on our team. But it's been great to have him and play alongside with him on the same line. And yeah, I mean, he's a guy you can trust on your team, so our team loves him. And yeah.
Okay, I know you've got a day off, so I'm going to fire two rapid-fire questions your way. First and foremost, you give Maddox a lot of props, but boy, there are some guys. Caden Brown is a 6-point night the other night. This team really seems to be coming in the own. Speak to me about the team play, whether it's offensively, defensively, from your teammates on the Regina Pats.
Yeah, I mean, this group's really come together, I think. And, yeah, I mean, the second half's been good, and all the guys, I mean, they're all contributing in some way. Obviously, Brownie's putting the puck in the back of the net and playing his game. Lansard's doing his thing and hopefully going to get drafted this year. So it's pretty good to see all the guys coming together and getting some wins together.
Okay, lastly for you, you'll notice that we here at the Sports Cage totally messed up. Didn't get you a birthday gift for your 16th birthday. What should we have gotten you?
That's a good question. Maybe some Tim's gift cards. Those never hurt for a hockey player. Those never hurt.
What's the go-to? Double-double? Are we talking a cold drink?
Yeah, either just an iced coffee or an ice cap. One of the two.
Fair enough. Well played. Liam, you know what? It's always great talking to you. I appreciate you doing this today. Again, phenomenal effort. Again, tough one after your 5th game in 7 nights against Swift Current. You pull it out. Congratulations on that one. And again, wish you the best going forward, starting on Friday night against Edmonton.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
There you go. Newly 16-year-old. Got to wait for those BC driver's licenses. I forgot about that. I've got a nephew that drives in BC. Got to wait until the summer to get the driver's license. Well, that's a tough one. Liam Pue joining us on Pat's Chat here on the Sports Cage. We're going to wrap things up and go back to Italy. If you missed it earlier, Kirk Muyres outside the Olympic curling venue. We'll get to him next. We're streaming at sportscage.com and on the radio at 620 CKRM.
Back to our regular spot, Pumpjacks Cathedral.
You know, I thought Pumpjacks was a kind of boot polish till last month.
What are you getting?
Kerwin's crispy ribs and a cold pint of local craft. Crispy, meaty, beautiful.
You had me at meaty.
Plus, we got live music on the weekends, big screens. This place is basically my second marriage.
And way cheaper than the first.
On the corner of Albert and 13th, Pumpjacks Cathedral Saloon and Steakhouse. Come early, stay late. The place where friends meet.